ticking. It's about time. I will start the audio. Ooh, audio time.
All right, we are in the audio time.
I will also tweet the stream. Because that's probably important.
Probably.
I don't know, people like this stuff, so
It's
get
fine.
engagement. And then we switch back Twitter, so there are no problems.
All right, but let us get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Is this week's What's Up?
Yep.
I'm Lucky, that's Omega, and we are here. Let me adjust my mic here a little bit. There we go. Oh, okay, that's better.
Judgment is lost.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm playing Lost Judgment right now here on the PS5. It is a very nice game. I love it. Those are students. I'm going to go beat the ever-living fuck out of them. With boxing!
We just run towards you. Considering we got a little... So, you guys don't know, obviously, because you're nice and don't camp recording on What's Up anyway. Sorry, excuse me. But depending on the day, we'll be hanging around for a little bit before we go.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's a long time, sometimes it's not. And I saw earlier, Lucky, that before I was saying the setup and stuff, you were commenting in the munificent crow's nest that you were doing housework, basically.
Yeah.
So, considering there was a little bit of radio silence before we got started, I was wondering if perhaps we would be starting with Lucky's fixing his house on 14 before switching to Lost Judgment. But no, we're here. We're set up.
No, I was set for it. Like, I paid attention to the time this time, and made sure that I allocated my time properly. Actually, before we got started, I wasn't actually doing housework. I was working on getting some extreme trials done in Shadowbringer. And I did that a few times, and, you know, I checked the time. I checked how long it took me to do a round. And basically, like, my last round ended, like, 3:55, and I was like, all right, guys, that's it for me. Bye! Then I logged out and started setting up, because I was setting up basically while I was doing 14. You know, in load times, I pull up OBS, I make sure that my HDMI thing is set, check audio and stuff. So normally, like, when I actually do, like, pop into the recording channel to finalize things with Omega, it is just me finalizing the last bits, making sure audio is working. Everything is good to go. You have been separated from the pack. Oh, nope, he's catching up to the pack.
Well, he got stuck on a sign for a second, like a loser.
The juggling begins!
Usually when we're ready to go, we're firing up. Like, technically this time, because it was a little before we got to final checks, I was, like, reviewing the audio, and I'm like, wait, something's wrong with my audio. Oh, I'm not recording myself. But I fixed it, so, like, it was fine. We go through these steps. I have a lot of personal anxiety about deadlines and stuff, so I like to be punctual and ready to go. Sometimes early. But yes, we are What's-upping. We have things to talk about with you today, Internet.
Yeah!
And then... let me pull up my list, because I do actually have a couple of things. And I know there's a couple of things Lucky actually wants to talk about today. To bring the stuff, the things. Some things are in the thumbnail.
So I'm just looking at this advertisement.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun last week noticing some of the ads and stuff in-game.
You know, I haven't beaten Lost Judgment yet. I think I'm pretty close of how
Sorry, the preview just transitioned forward.
Yeah, this is hoverboard.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It comes with, I believe, the school essentials pack because it unlocks more school activities. Because as I said in here, I got to save these kids.
Yep. Got to help these kids.
Oh, you hit me! Now it's on!
Who even is these guys?
I don't know, but... they have fucked up.
Yeah, just casually punch you, and then you just, you know, unleash your Super Saiyan spirit and beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
I can pull out a sword. Hold on. Never mind, you're gonna break dance on it. But, like, what the fuck? What the fuck, bro? Why you be doing that? Where did he even hide that sword?
I don't know. In Yakuza Kiwami, the only one of the Kiwami series I have actually played, you could do that too. You can just have like baseball bats and knives and stuff just in your back pockets.
True. I distinctly remember, I think it was when it was free on PS Plus monthly, I picked up Kiwami and played a few hours. I think I had a swordfish in my back pocket.
Yep. Sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Because you got some free special bonus stuff for the downloadable version. So yeah, you just casually pull them out.
Like, different from the first Judgment. In Law's Judgment, you don't get to carry weapons, but you get gear. Oh, what do I have equipped anywhere here? Oh, okay, hang on.
I believe you did actually discover this last time and showed it off a little.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we were curious about this the board slot at the time.
Yep, and it's a skateboard. You can get several skateboards, and they all have stats. But, oh, as I was saying, I'm not done with the story, so I'm going to try to avoid actually doing story stuff, which should be fine. I actually have to, like, specifically take a taxi to go to a off-map area.
Yeah, one of those, right.
So, oh, cat time.
He's detected a cat.
I have. This one is Blossom. You have to remember your cat names, otherwise they get mad at you. I'm gonna pet this cat. Yes, good. And they gave me a scorpion. How cat-like. I didn't even know there were scorpions in Japan. The fuck? Actually, how many?
Oh yeah, there's scorpions somewhere.
All right, let me go find the homeless man who has all the...
more infamous for their centipedes, but I'm sure they've got scorpions somewhere, or have seen them, had them imported.
Wait, there's
some people do keep scorpions as pets.
True enough. Wait, there's a squirrel mark there. That usually means there's... That's the 2 one. I need to find the number 1 one. There's a hidden item kind of thing here. Basically, if you see a squirrel mark, depending on what the squirrel is doing, you use a gadget, and it'll lead you to either a treasure or another squirrel mark, which will lead you to a treasure.
I do actually... People talk about coverboards in chat. I do actually believe there were some magnetic prototypes that were actually developed. It was not just a ruse. The main thing is just that they only work on special tracks that are magnetized. It's basically like a maglev thing. So they exist. It's just that they do not function like the hoverboard out of Back to the Future. Go to hover if you don't got any power. Classic line.
So, let's see here. Well, I'm near the boxing gym where I learned how to box and became a beast of the ring. It was another one of those lovely, lovely stories.
Have you at any point pointed at the ceiling before punching?
I don't think so.
Interesting.
I'm not sure, but let me see here.
The very famous Ashizono Joe pose. Very often referenced in anime.
Mm-hmm.
Would be kind of surprised if it didn't show up somewhere in a game like this.
It might have.
You never know.
It might. There might be something.
It's true. It could have been very subtle and just, you point up with the one glove really quickly and it moves on.
Oh, that's right. Fucking Kaito's not here because he got fucking stabbed.
Oof.
Yeah. But, like, yeah, I actually had a lot of fun with this. Like, I can't believe they actually, like, squeezed in a mini boxing game in here. And it was just like, what? I'm going to destroy this man just for shits and giggles, just to show you guys.
Well, I believe it, as X did say, several other people commented, it was a DLC style, so maybe this was, like, a separate development track.
Yeah.
Which good on them that it's not just buy money to pay to win, spend money to do better. Like it's like, okay, we've got a whole like mini game path here.
Oh, this man is destroyed. I know I'm super over level, but goddamn.
Yeah, literally 2 good punches, 2 hooks, pop pop, real Glass Joe.
Like, I actually had a lot of fun playing this boxing mini game. It's like, and it's, no, you done. You done, son.
Nope, don't got it. Very punch out with the even the last minute dramatic. I think you still level through that. All right, hold on, internet. I'm going to shoot Lucky a DM about something.
Hang on. But I like this boxing mini game because it's really simple and it's kind of built into the engine. It's just that like I still have like my dodge and my guard is like this, but I have a high guard and a low guard like that. And my buttons are super simple. Like square's just jab. And then triangle is straight. Then you got, circle for a hook. And using like certain button combinations, you can pull off other things. Ow. Like I can do a powerful hook by holding it, just like bam, 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 bam.
Oh yeah, so yeah, charge. Wait for your gaps, get all this stuff in. Body blows. That animation got a little...
Oh. Yeah. But, you basically unlock the boxing minigame through the school stories, which is a interesting little system that they have in Lost Judgment. In which basically you become, because Yagami, 38-year-old ex-lawyer, now detective, is on a case that involves a bunch of, school bullying and other such things. I won't ruin that too much for everyone. But it turns out that he needs to find a reason to stay on this school premise to do more investigating, because you can't just have a fucking detective wandering the halls quizzing your students.
Yeah.
So through a bunch of shenanigans, he ends up the outside advisor / guidance counsel to the Mystery Research Club, in a slightly hilarious turn of events. And through their investigation, he starts getting acquainted with a bunch of other clubs. Like first off being like the dance club, the esports club, boxing club, the motorcycle club. Well, it's not really a club, but it's a gang. And other such things. Actually, I can just pull them up here. Like, there's still 2 I haven't unlocked yet. But yeah, like, there's 5, like, here. And each of them basically have, like, a little mini-game, attached to them, which I think is cool. Like, when I first saw the back of the cover for, Lost Judgment, I saw the rhythm game, and I was all like, what the hell is this? And it turns out it's like one of my favorite fucking things. Actually, I'm gonna go do my it has no lyric. The ones I'm gonna do has no lyric, so it should be fine, because I think that's usually the kicker with video game music. If it has lyrics, you got to be careful.
Yeah, because a singer had to sing those.
Yeah, but if it's usually just straight up music, it should be fine.
If it's purely instrumental, I mean, it might still be licensed, but who knows? By the way, we did have a long stream about Judgment and Lost Judgment last week that did involve some credit scenes that had some actual music in them. So,
yeah.
Hey, if you didn't get to see it because YouTube was being weird, or while it was muting those parts, go back and check.
Like I'm saying, I'm willing to risk it for Long Drill on the Beach, because I really do like the. I mean,
worst comes to worst, we can still just usually, if the video's not a bajillion years long or something. Usually we can just mute the music sound, and that clears it up with YouTube.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's like Yakumi's like just now a counselor, and he's here to help these kids. And I've been talking about this like here and there, like throughout the week, but like I'm pretty sure I mentioned it on our Monday stream, and I mentioned it yesterday doing Let's Talk. But this segment right here, like interacting with the school, like there's a whole bunch of other drama and whatnot, other side cases, but a lot of the school, a lot of the side material is taken up with the school, and you know, connecting to these kids. And I'm realizing that this represents an aesthetic that I didn't know I wanted in my life. Because, in case you guys didn't know, Lucky will be 35 next Tuesday. Literally hit my mid-30s. I'm too old to be a high school protagonist sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I can still relate to the kids on some level. There are still just some sort of fundamental differences I have with, like, the youth of today and my own things. But
yeah, it gets harder to relate.
Let's see, what is group dance? This is actually at the...
Speaking of Lucky's birthday, before I lock this in on stream, yes, I am literally looking at my Amazon checkout. I want to remind, because Lucky's getting distracted, you do not have, or nobody's planning to get you the Final Fantasy XIV cookbook for your birthday right now. Okay. Place in the order. Because I am a showman, chat. Alright, it's done so. Let's go to that address.
Oh, we can put him at any venue now. Sick.
Fun fact, the Amazon delivery day is your birthday, the Tuesday, so.
Sick.
Alrighty. And then Amazon's trying to sell me like 5
Just watch
million PS5 games. Alright, I'm gonna look over now.
"38-year-old man dancing with high schoolers."
Dressed up in... First of all, shout out to those high schoolers. I don't know if this is like a proper fashion subculture in Japan, but like, damn. These kids got the drip. But also, yeah, shout out to the counselor for showing up for this shit. Jesus. You're going ham.
Yeah, basically Yagami shows up, and the dance club is all like, "Our fucking instructor has just fucking ghosted us, and we don't know what the fuck to do." And Yagami's like, "I do not know how to dance, but I know how to kung fu. Will that work?" And they're like, "Whatever fucking works."
We literally have no staff advisor. We are fucked.
This ain't the first song you do. This is the second one you got, but it's my favorite because I love the suits and the fucking semi-swing kind of,
Yeah.
And so you basically go through like a storyline of trying to figure out, because there's basically someone in the school called the Professor who is doing crime, and the MRC is trying to figure out like what's going on. And the captain of the MRC is a huge mystery stan. Oh, I missed that one. And she cannot leave fucking mysteries undone.
Mm-hmm.
So basically you go quote unquote uncover to
S rank groove.
Yeah. You basically go undercover to like discover like the professor's influence on these kids, if there's crimes being afoot. But you know, over the course of, you know, it's like you come to care for these kids and want for their success and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's how an adult should be, you know?
Yeah, basically.
Like you don't want those kids getting up into no trouble, but at the same time, you want the best for them. And like this is what we're talking about, like with like, oops, I went too far. Like, you know, the kind of what's the word I want to use? I don't want to say necessarily discordant, but like when like it's usually with a lot of like story is like Persona 5 really put itself on the on the grid with like everything, but also with its story about teenage rebellion.
Yeah, which is it. Like abuse of power by authority figures is a real big problem in Japan. So like P5 going out of its way to be like, yeah, no, these young kids are rebels, and like they get adults to come on board with their plans to like expose corrupt figures and tell them to fuck off and stop ruining our lives, kind of stuff.
Yeah. But
like that was very important. But a lot of people notice that a lot of adults in Persona 5 are useless.
Yeah. And there's definitely like speak of like corruption and oh, I meant to go to robotics. No, I'm just gonna skateboard. Actually, fuck it, I'll go to the skate park. Of people being useless and corrupted, and people having to keep their mouth shut and stuff because school bullying, like, because a big thing over this is like the main gist of like the main, I don't want to say the main gist of this is school bullying, but there is a lot of talk about like bad things happening to people, and when bad things happening to people and the law not being able to protect them, I guess I want to say.
Yeah.
Like like how a kid will bully kids will bully another kid, but they don't want to necessarily rat anybody out, neither the kids nor the adults, because your reputation means a lot.
Yeah.
So if things get out that you're a little fucking shit, it's gonna potentially ruin your future, might ruin, your family standing and stuff. So a lot of people are more willing to sweep things under the rug. But, victims are still victims. And, there's a lot of like playing around like with that. Like there's a little bit of undertones in. Oop, someone dropped something. Wait, no, I need to give this to this dude. Wait. Did you drop it? Who dropped it? Oh, you dropped it.
Excuse me, sir. I found a thing on the ground.
These guys are just way too easy. Look, see, I'm just gonna walk. Actually, can I actually get away from these nerds? Nope. Apparently my leather fucking... Oh, you have a gun!
Jeez.
Sorry, I had to fix that real quick.
Yeah, no. I just fucking... Gun!
Excuse me, it's evening in Yokohama? This is not the time for fucking gun violence.
No, as you just power slide into his face. Also, because we've been going for like 20 minutes and I haven't done it yet, but I don't want to remember to do it later. I would like to remind everybody this episode is brought to you by our patrons, which includes Adam Harp, Agony 10, Williams, G, Carlos, Dragon Ferris, Jay Vasquez, Just the Fae, Jonathan Sandoval, Legendary Boss, Lead Kessler, Regent Raptor, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robin, Trevor, Sean Pryor, some guy named Bob Sancho, Zary, and the Crow, and if you like what you want to see us do more, consider starting on Patreon. Replace the money I just spent getting Lucky a birthday gift. It's not a big deal, but just saying, you can put the money back in the hole. Money come out, money go in.
We also have skateboard races.
Swag. But yes, thank you, patrons, for your support. Because I didn't want to leave this tab open for like 4 hours and remember to add it to the audio at the end. As Lucky a skateboard does.
Oh! Oh, I went right through those. Holy shit!
Alright, I really like the skateboard for a hot second. I just realized I've placed my water bottle across the room again. How dare me? Resounding clunk of my water bottle clear back.
Alright. Like, that's what I like about like all the mini games here. None of them are like super complex, but they're all just interesting enough that they're enjoyable.
Yeah. Solid gameplay type stuff.
Mm-hmm. Like I can't pull off any.
How you want it to be.
Yeah. It's not like I can pull off any like super sick tricks like I'm in fucking Tony Hawk, but it's enough. Like I just usually just want to be like swooping and swerving around.
Well, yeah, you can jump, you can grind, you can do some tricks. It seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen you do a couple of like spins and stuff, but it's mostly just a way to like get around.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds you a little bit of the hoverboard from Jak 2.
Yeah, I love that thing.
Yeah, because the hoverboard did give you some like new exploration opportunities, platforming style, but mostly it was just a way for you to like get around faster and to travel over water, for instance,
Mhm.
with the jetboard that wasn't tied to having to constantly steal cars. And yes, they did have some like racing and some trick jumping like mini games, but it was also just a convenient thing because it was classic platformer style upgrades. Which this seems to be kind of in that vein. You have actual like mini games you can do for like tricks and shit and races, but also you can just pull out your hoverboard and be like, wee, fuck walking. I have a hoverboard. But so you have been, we've dovetailed the week here. You started this game literally last week, and now you say you're pretty close to beating it. So
Yeah.
You've got some hours, some impressions in.
Yeah. Now, I still want to say I think Lost Judgment is a really good game, but I think it's a good game slightly in different ways from Judgment was. Mm-hmm. Oh, hang on. I'm fighting it. Yeah, I'm fighting it. Where'd that? That sneeze came out of nowhere. Ow, I did that wrong. I want to say, like, in Judgment, the focus was all on Kamurocho, and this particular case, there really wasn't necessarily a lot of, breadth's not the word, because the case did have a lot of breadth, but it wasn't as broad. Like, the game...
It was very focused.
Yes. In Lost Judgment, I want to say it's kind of the opposite. While the story is very good, I feel like it's a bit more spread out, and it's more lets you just go around and do more stuff. Like they don't have the friendship mechanic in this one, which is something I actually really did like about the first one. But actually, how much do I have of this? Can I go play some fucking
thunder rumbling? That means I gotta warn everybody that I may go away briefly if the thunder crashes and my internet will inevitably go down, because I assume that Spectrum loses power, because all of our shit is backed up, but we still lose internet for a little bit when the power goes down. So I may dip out and come back. Probably take it like 5 minutes to reset.
Does this be like, I heard you talking shit yesterday?
Well, it has been thundery lately, but it hasn't really rained. They even said rain coming earlier, and now it's just like, nope, 92 degrees Fahrenheit, mostly sunny. At 7:30 at night, by the way. Don't you just love summer? I don't actually. I have to do like extra laundry because I keep, going to sleep sweaty. Gotta keep washing the pillows and bed sheets. But Lucky's doing sick tricks.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get more. Trying to get more of my missed. Trying to get more of my completion done. But where Judgment had I think it's fair. The more I think about it, the more it's fair. I think they're establishing a new IP using the same setting, so they want to basically be able to focus more on building relationships and characters and all that stuff.
Whereas the sequel is it's a sequel, so we don't need to establish the same stuff. We just want to be like, hey, look at all the new stuff we came up with.
Yeah. And I think it works to its benefit, but like I said, the beats don't quite hit as hard for me as some of them did in Judgment. There's still this moment that fucking gives me the tingles every time I think about it. It's the I don't want to necessarily spoil it, but how's the best way I can explain it? Well, there's a segment where Yagami basically goes, confronts his past. For better part, confronts his past and lets a dude know what's up. And the way that the scene does just literally made me cry a little bit, because it was just I was like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. This is the moment. I'm not gonna pass this one.
Rip.
Oops, bonk. Now I'll try again. And like I said, that was 3/4 way through through the first game, right before Yagami got like really down to it. This one you definitely explore more of Yagami's character and his opinions and stuff. But like I said, it's more of a spread out kind of oeuvre, and there's no like really super hard hitting moment. Well, I mean there are hard hitting moments, but it's just like nothing that tops those scenes in the first one.
Yeah.
Ugh. But like I'm having a lot of fun. It's real easy in this game to get distracted, wander around. Well, no, Axe, you're not wrong. It's not confirmed that this will be the last one. I actually looked this up. So things are unsure if there's going to be a third one, because what had happened is Judgment, I think, or Lost Judgment was supposed to come out on Steam PC, but Yagami's mocap and voice actor, I can't think of his name. He's actually a fairly famous Japanese actor. Usually does live stuff. His agency basically put a block on the Steam and PC port of the game because they did not want people being able to mod the game and basically what they basically consent to face their client.
Yeah.
And so they bit a kibosh on that, and because they weren't able to get the Steam PC port, they don't get those Steam PC sales. And so the team they didn't say it was the last one, but they said they are worried for the future. They are worried for the future of the IP.
And we'll see, because like obviously, Big Daddy Sony is clearly like making some money moves in this space.
Mm-hmm.
Judgment and Lost Judgment were not included in this batch of games, but basically the entirety of Yakuza up to this point was included in PS Plus now.
Mm-hmm.
And like if these games don't eventually maybe hit, though Sony does like to cross-release games on Steam. I actually heard the other day that technically Death Stranding is going to be on Game Pass, but only on PC. But you can still, I think that means you can like stream it to your Xbox.
Oh, neat.
But it's still kind of interesting thing we're doing. Now, if only we could somehow make this go in reverse, Microsoft. But yeah, like, I think like Sony has really cottoned on to the timed exclusivity, right?
Mm.
Like, they're not necessarily going to put stuff on Xbox consoles, and I've heard, by the way, this does actually cut both ways sometimes. Like, I think I talked about this last week. I don't remember if it was about Final Fantasy XIV, but it was about some multiplayer game where there were talks to do an Xbox version, and at first Sony was the one who was like, oh, we don't want you to do crossplay with Xbox, and the developers were like, well, we need to be on the same servers. And so that kind of like put it down. But then eventually it went the other way where like Sony started being open to that crossplay stuff, and it was Xbox who was like, whoa, we don't know about this sharing stuff with them Sony guys. Like, we all have these like weird back and forths to the relationship. So especially, like obviously Lucky enjoys these. It sounds like I will like them when I get to them, but my bad luck.
Yeah, no, like this is good. This is good. This is good crime drama. The first one definitely has a more focus on underworld dealings and whatnot.
Yeah.
This one's more of just a straight up crime drama. It's not really tied to organized crime because, funnily enough, this is post the big break of the Yakuza series, in which the big Yakuza gangs in the area get broken up. So like there's this actual vacuum going on right now, and people are starting to move into it, but
You mean we didn't know we're still alive? We do this all the time.
We do this literally every week.
Yeah, we're here every week, every day. We did a lot of bonus streams this week, and I can say we because Lucky was on some of them, at least one of them.
At least one. Big flips.
Both of which went pretty well.
I'm gonna go visit more cats.
The Game Dev Tycoon one doesn't have quite the normal amount of views for a stream. It's a little low, but we had a lot of engagement with chat, so please go watch it and enjoy it, especially if you want more of it. But the FFTA 2 stream that Lucky joined me for was very popular. Like, that has, average or above average views and, like, got, like, extra likes and comments and stuff. So definitely probably be checking in on that one occasionally. But yeah, we're out here doing stuff, doing things.
I'm just keeping the streets clean here.
Yeah.
Call me the sweeper.
But yeah, like these games seem like they're really nice. So like, obviously we don't want franchises to become, franchise zombies or whatever. Like, I know people generally like the Yakuza games. I've always been kind of curious because there's like 7 of those, and wow, the 7th one does not have Kazuma Kiryu is like the main protagonist. We've got a new guy, right?
This one
Well,
is
we continue to make podcasts since then. We got a new one out now. It's number 1. Good, thumbs up. I was a little worried. It was a little sluggish, but I think it's because I actually uploaded it earlier like a lunatic. I put it out to patrons at like 5:30 in the morning with no description, no thumbnail, just go, and then went to bed. Nobody really complained, so sorry if it was a little rough, patrons. But working with the 5 thing.
I'm gonna go walk the dog.
But yeah, so there's a lot. Like I said, I was saying. Sorry, I love the train of thought.
Oh!
Hold on. Look, he's gonna eat shit on this car. Yep. I don't know how you did about 9. I don't even know what to call that direction of flip because you didn't go anywhere. But that was certainly an interesting interaction. I'll crack it up to your hoverboard technology. Dude, what the God damn. You'd think if you beat up enough dudes, they'd realize that they need to stop pulling out fucking mallets on the street and trying to get you. Anyway, it's always interesting for a game series that have like a bajillion games without like a soft reboot or something. And obviously, technically, I think Yakuza Like a Dragon, Yakuza 7 is a like soft reboot, but it still harkens to the earlier continuity. I have questions for how you can keep the vibes going and advance the story of the characters through 6 games plus a prequel, right?
Well, I think the thing is they actually just maintain a continuous story throughout all the games. Haruka, the girl that you adopt at the end of the first game, slowly gets older and things happen.
Yeah, that's always a really good, easy way to do progression is to have actual character aging.
Yeah.
Yeah, each show's like a TV season. That's probably a good way to look at it. Because TV shows can go on for a long fucking time and you don't even realize. Now, admittedly, that can still get really fucked up and weird and stupid if they go on that long. But, sometimes it works, right? So, yeah, that's always a really interesting thing. So, I don't think series should go on, indefinitely without changing or growing.
I think it's also to the Yakuza games' credit is, while they do usually have their story, when you think about it, isn't actually that huge and big. It's actually, I wouldn't say it's small, but usually a lot of the time spent in Yakuza is spent, fucking around, doing side quests.
They have a lot of, speaking of, the breadth and the extra gameplay and stuff, they've got a lot of extra content going on. And the stories, from my understanding, are usually very personal, right?
Yes.
There's not necessarily smaller scale, but is, much more directed and compacted.
You're not saving the world or saving the nation. You're usually just taking care of something on a personal scale.
And that prevents seasonal escalation, which can plague any kind of narrative series.
Yeah. Usually there's stories of political corruption, maybe someone's at the top doing something bad. And maybe not, and even at the resolution, maybe that person doesn't actually get punished, but you just stop whatever they're doing. So it's I think Ryugu Gotoku, Like a Dragon, because that's the Yakuza's Japanese series name.
Yeah.
Is good at basically not going too overboard with their story, their main story, and then they like to leave the weird shit for their little side quests and whatnot.
Yeah. And there are definitely sometimes when sequels can get a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we never. So the point I was gonna make was obviously I know the game series should continue indefinitely, but also I think that storytellers should be able to end stories on their own terms, right? So having a bad business thing come up and that be why they can't make more Judgment games, that would be kind of souring, right?
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. Right now, they're working on Yakuza 8.
Mhm.
Because the thing I was going to talk about, like sequel escalation and stuff, and sequels being weird, was I was actually going to bring up Deus Ex. Because Deus Ex Human Revolution ends in a really big, flashy, escalating way.
Yes.
Spoilers for a game that's like 15 years old now.
I went down with the I went down with the thing.
Yeah. But like, there's the whole big like Illuminati thing at the end, and all the augment people are like taken over except you because of your magic augments and whatever. And like they're gonna tear the Illuminati apart and so on and so forth, and you do the thing, right? And then you have a couple different ways because the AI helps you out. You have a couple different ways to handle it. You can go down with the ship. You can escape. You can just let it happen, kind of a thing. You know, you've got a few choices you can do. Well, we do the classic problem. We go to the next game, Mankind Divided. None of that matters, kind of. There's some allusions to the fact of the Great Crisis and everything, and that's why, like, we have, the cybernetic apartheid, which was maybe a little try-hard, a little malicious at the time. But, like, you've got the clear divide between, normies and augments and stuff. They have to explain why the technology got set back so that we can still be in continuity with the original Deus Ex.
God,
weirdly
food
enough.
porn.
But, Mankind Divided also has the issue of, like, well, you can die in the endings. And, spoilers for, like, a 10-year-old game, there's suggestions, there's a side plot you can do with your old boss that suggests that this Adam Jensen is just a clone of the original, who was, like, flash-grown by the Illuminati and given, like, fake memories and shit. But it's never confirmed. It's just an option. It's just a thing they left open to, like, suggest that you can do that. And, like, and the game, like, escalates through all the, like, well, we got another big cyborg asshole, and he's gonna do more stuff and, like, eat the rich or whatever, and it's all part of the Illuminati's plan. Brr, brr, brr. What happened to your girlfriend again? And as Zach pointed out in chat, it doesn't really go anywhere because clearly Eidos was gonna do another game, like they were doing the classic trilogy split, and it never happened because I think that I just think that Mankind Divided didn't do enough different stuff and wasn't marketed correctly.
No, I thought it was an okay game, but
yeah, it was all right. And like, had they just said, "Hey, this dev cycle, game time," no, Axe, shut up. That's not even relevant. What are you doing?
Well, someone was talking about Warhammer Fantasy.
Well, yeah, they mentioned Warhammer Fantasy, but that's completely unrelated. Don't do that. Because, no, I'm not actually that familiar with Warhammer Fantasy. I know a lot more about 40K, so, like, that's very disingenuous for Axe to, like, point them at something else that we do. As much as I want people to watch our other stuff, that has absolutely nothing to do with their question. And, yes, to answer that question, no, I don't really know a lot about either version of Fantasy. I know a few things from some, like, memes, and I know there were...
Someone keeps shooting me! Who has the gun? Who has the gun? You have the gun! Come here!
Tonfa guy? Is it that guy?
Bitch! I love how this gun just literally broke in two as it hit the ground.
No guns. You didn't even boss it. No, lettuce, you're fine. I just can't contribute to your question. I don't have a lot to say.
That's something I liked about Kazuma. Kazuma Kiryu would use guns if he had them. This guy's like, no guns, only fists.
Well, I mean, you're not a criminal.
Very true. Very true. Actually, I don't know about the future games. Again, I am excited to get through them all eventually. But
yeah. No, but I definitely remember in Kiwami you could get the games out. I mean, he is, though. I mean, technically, you're kind of a criminal in this because you're just beating people up on the street. That's not legal like most places in the world. But I think that courts in Japan would probably be okay in self-defense because, you're doing this with your fist, and these motherfuckers are pulling out katanas and tonfas and guns and fucking, kendo swords. I mean, Axe, that's part of the, like, illusion of the Yakuza. They claim that they are the modern-day Ronin.
Also, yes, he was part of the Yakuza. He did go to jail. He wound up being convicted for the crime, but he did go to jail, like, fucking twice.
Yeah, he's been in prison a couple of times. Like, he's involved in shady businesses. But like, it's okay.
Like I said, Yakuza is romanticized organized crime, but I still love it for it. But it's still fucking crime.
Yeah, it's part of the ethos. Like I said, like the whole Ronin thing is part of the mythos of the Yakuza, right?
Right.
Well, yeah, like I mean, he's a good guy because he's your protagonist, but like he's still, again, I've said this before, but I want to, as I like to say, crime is just an illusion, man. But no, like Kazuma Kiryu is absolutely a criminal, but that doesn't mean he's a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Crimes are decided by people; they are not absolutes. And sometimes you gotta beat up a guy because it's righteous or whatever.
Listen, if a dude's shooting at me, I'm not gonna feel too bad about shooting them back, you know.
Yeah. Well, and that's why in legality, criminal justice degree talking. That's why there are certain defenses. Self-defense is one of them, an affirmative self-defense, where you are like, yeah, no, I did the thing that is illegal, but there were extenuating circumstances. Self-defense is very common. Other need for survival is also usable. For instance, the one that was in all my law textbooks was, say, you're I don't know why it's this one, but say you're like snowed in on a mountain, right? Mm-hmm. Like you've gotten lost in a blizzard while hiking, or you snowboarded wrong or something. Don't ask me why the fuck they keep using these things, right? But you like break into somebody's like chateau and like steal their food, right? Mm-hmm. Technically, that is a crime. You have illegally entered a property you are not authorized in, and you have consumed something that's not yours. But because you're like dying on a mountain slope somewhere, the law will usually not find you criminally liable because your life was at stake. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in these games. Like we talk about the personal scale and stuff. So it would be very interesting to see if they do eventually come up with a third game. Because like I said, I would prefer it if people ended it on their own terms, because Mankind Divided is now probably eternally going to hang there as like we're never going to get that third Deus Ex game in that continuity, which is a shame.
Actually, especially since Square Enix has, I think, sold off the studio responsible for it.
I mean, I don't know. You never know. Embracer Group could like reactivate IDOS because they've got the IP, right?
They could.
I strongly suspect though what would probably happen these days was we'd probably see a actual factual remake of the original Deus Ex, much like how they're remaking System Shock 2.
Did you?
Which I would love, by the way. I would love because I have tried to play the original Deus Ex. It's hard. Like that game has so many like trap options in your leveling up, and like it's got some janky old ass PC controls. And like it's tough. Like you really need to know what you're doing to actually play that game very well.
Yeah, that's a problem with a lot of old games like that. Like you mentioned System Shock 2 earlier, and that was one of those games that I did actually play when I was younger, but I literally had no idea what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
It ended horribly. They are remaking the second one though, and apparently they're making a third one. Like I did not know that until
that goes. I think I have the original one bought on the original version of 2, I should say, bought on Steam, but I never actually booted it up yet. I may wait for a remake. That reminds me of, I actually so it's very funny. Mandalore Gaming actually did a review of the original Gothic. Mm-hmm. Remember that game we talked about like last week that was getting a remake trailer? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a weird game, and I'm kind of interested to see if the remake goes in that direction. The premise is that you get thrown into like a magical barrier prison where they're mining like resources or something for a war, and you just have to live with, you're in a shitty dark fantasy prison.
Really?
Like, guards try to hit you up for money, so you have to pay like protection, or otherwise they'll like ambush you and steal your shit. There are like different factions of criminals and guards. Like in one place, like the criminals overthrew the guards, but then they just became the new guards, right?
Right.
While also like under the caves there are like horrible evil magic spiders and giant wolf creatures and other bullshit. One of the factions are camped out in a swamp and they eat magic mushrooms and they think that there's a god that talks to them, which may or may not exist. That kind of stuff. So like that could be interesting to see that in a remastered form, in a remake, because that was another one of those really weird games. But no, it's a third person action RPG, I guess we'd call it. It's an immersive type game. Like like a Thief or a Dark Messiah. Well, those are both first person, but this one's third person. You can go look it up. Just look for Gothic Mandalore Gaming. You'll find it. Yeah, it's not first person, but it feels like it's the same vein because it's like got a lot of the different shit you can do. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on there, and that'll be interesting to see. But that definitely felt like one of those games, as Mandalore Gaming was talking about it. It's like, yeah, just old school games. They just didn't tell you shit. Like manuals were a big thing back in the day to kind of figure stuff out, and like if there were trap options in your builds or like wrong paths you could take, you just had to like learn to live with it or just fucking reset your game. Yeah, the original one is German. Mandalore actually talks about that. The German audio track is like way better than the English one, which is kind of flat. We'll see how it goes. By the way, Lucky, fun thing. I just found this in my news on the PlayStation blog. So Kena Bridge of Spirits is getting a big anniversary update next month.
Oh, what's gonna be in it?
There's a new set of collectibles called Charm Stones.
Neat.
They are individually equipable. They give you a adjustment to Keena's stats and abilities, so they have a benefit and a drawback. So, like, different weird shit you can do. They are connected to a new thing called Spirit Trials, so, you know, kind of a skill trial mode. They will have straight-up New Game Plus.
Oh, neat.
And then there are different trials, and by completing trials, you can get Charm Stones and other things, and you can unlock outfits.
Sick.
You can unlock Drip. And all of this will be in a free update.
Free is the way to do it.
Yeah, it seems like that's neat. We played that game on stream. I enjoyed it. I think there were a couple of weird things with like the placement of abilities, but I don't know. I might try a New Game Plus, or some new trials and stuff. You never know. That update comes out on the game's anniversary on September 27th.
Oh, sick! I can summon my dog. Nice.
Summon dog. I mean, what issues, X? Summon dog.
Just hanging out with my dog. Well, it's not my dog. It's the president of the MRC. It's her dog. But because she is such a fucking mystery nerd, she taught her dog from a young age how to be a detective assistant. So now it will literally just run out on its own to solve its own mysteries.
Yes, it's a crime-solving dog. You're absolutely right. This game series is completely based. Although I don't think I had so much issues. Like, there were a couple of boss fights that were hard because they were not very well telegraphed. And, like, I personally think the game was kind of hurt by the fact that the dash was the last thing you learned. But, like, it wasn't actually like that. I beat it pretty cleanly in, like, 3 streams or 4 streams. You know, we played through the whole thing. Wasn't that hard.
All right, thanks, Rompo. You can just go do your shit.
I even beat, like, one of the bosses off camera while we were, like, the stream went down. It was no trouble at all.
Oh, Robotics
just
Club.
That one weird flying one was just really weird to fight because it, like, did something completely different with the game and, like, punished you for trying to play, like, how you previously played the most. I don't even know if I don't even really remember if Kena made me that angry.
It made you a little angry. I definitely know that.
Yeah, there were some parts where I was just like, you know, I was a little annoyed. No, if you want to hear me talk, I can take over and talk about some of the games I've been playing. 'Cause I've just been kind of chilling, waiting for Saints Row next week. So I haven't tried to start too many big. Well, that's a lie. I have technically started something big, but I'll get into that. I'm not, you know, playing anything like brand new spanking to get into.
Bitch.
But yeah, while you beat up these guys, I'll talk a little. So, you know, as we've discussed, PS Plus, you know, extra and stuff has a shitload of games. Lots and lots of games. And so I have actually downloaded a couple that I've been meaning to try out some stuff. One, I think I get sand to throw in your eyes.
Pocket?
Does he have pocket sand?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. Throw him in the river.
You say that.
I mean, he deserves it. Fucking bringing pocket sand to a street fight. What kind of gremlin are you?
Oh, is this not a... Okay, I guess this ain't Hang on.
No, it's not a proper interaction. Oh, no,
hang on.
You got it?
Hang on. It's over here.
We're having a lot of fun figuring out how to throw people over rivers.
There we go.
I mean, it makes sense. The actual bridge barrier is quite tall. Whee! Bye! I love the look on his face, too. Like, don't throw me in the river. But so, I have downloaded some free PS Plus games, which would get me to play games that I would not normally fuck with. One of them was because in the general, like, state of writing lore and antagonists and stuff, I actually was curious to go back and, because it is free on PS Plus, take a crack at the Demon Souls remaster.
Ah.
Because I played the Demon Souls when it originally came out in the PS3, and especially back in the day, it wasn't really a game for me, especially with like the internet community kind of being the way it was, and just not having a fun time. And I've put a couple hours into it, and I will still say, one, before I like say anything negative at all, the remaster is beautiful. Like the stuff they did, like completely rebuilding the locations, and this was Bluepoint who did the remaster. Like all the like character models are like really, really well detailed. There's a lot of environmental stuff going on, like the effects that get out there and stuff. But like, I gotta be honest. I mean, I guess I see why they didn't call Dark Souls, Demon Souls 2, I guess. But like, I am kind of surprised this game series got so much traction, and kind of understand why it has the traction it did. Because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I don't think the opening parts of Demon Souls are designed to be very accessible. Now, some people are gonna eat me up for this, because technically Demon Souls is non-linear. You can go anywhere you want. No, that's a lie. You can't go anywhere you want. You can only do that after you beat the first boss. You can't even level up until you beat the first boss, the first real boss. Which you also don't just jump into. You have to go through all the bullshit of walking around and doing stuff. And then also just, so this is why I say, I feel like the game like starts feeling very inaccessible. Because it's got that same Dark Souls, like, everything is obscured, nothing is explained energy. No, if you cannot right away. You have to defeat Phalanx before you can level up. Because I'm pretty sure the game forces you to die, whether or not you beat the... Because technically you can beat the Vanguard Demon. I did not, because I was still figuring out my build and, getting used to the controls again. So I was doing okay, but I miscounted my reach and stuff. Yeah, no, you literally... I don't even think she appears until you defeat Phalanx. Like, I looked around for her. And if she is somewhere, who the fuck knows where she is? Because the Nexus sucks, but I'll get back to that. So I will say, like, I actually tried some new things. I went online and looked up, like, different people's recommendations for different builds. Yes, Lucky is clearly playing some battle robots with some fucking Tetris grids.
Yeah.
And so, like, I actually took some recommended things, and I tried out the Royal Start. That gives you a melee weapon, but also some magic. Yep. I will say, I actually found it, like, quite interesting, because I've played a few of these games. Like, I've put a few hours into Demon Souls originally. I tried a little on Bloodborne as well. I've never tried to do, like, magic builds in any of these games, any of these Souls-like games. I actually found it quite fun and satisfying to fucking nuke zombos with my magic missile. And while Royal does start you with the ring to recover magic slowly, it is very slowly. So it's not like it's unbalanced or anything, because if you blow your whole load just, blowing up noobs, you run out of gas. Same with when I actually fought Phalanx. That wasn't a challenge, but it was very slow and methodical because, gosh, I ran out of firebombs and I ran out of magic, so we had to do some strafing behind pillars and wait for my blue bar to juice back up.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that's the only thing I remember about Phalanx is it's always about them firebombs, yo.
Yeah, no, and I used him and I got him good, but I did run out before he died, so I had to, you know, work around it and do that kind of stuff. And I don't really know how deep it is, like, as a thing, but it seems fun and people were recommending it as an option. Like, there are definitely builds that work. Okay, the Dragon God kills UV Vanguard. Yeah, so you die no matter what. But yeah, so going back to the like the accessibility. So, like I said, you can't even level up until you defeat Phalanx. And like I said, it's not just that like you go fight Phalanx. No, you have to do the normal Soulsborne fuck around stuff in this first area. And like, God, guys, the Gates of Proletaria, it sucks. And it's like the first zone, and you have to go here. Like, it sucks a lot. There are fucking assholes with crossbows, like, everywhere. And, hey, you can't free aim in this game. And that's kind of one of the things that bugs me. I will say this. This is a personal choice. I do not like how some of this stuff is designed. If you're okay with it, that's fine. Personal thing. Yeah, shields would be good at blocking the bolts if I could fucking lock onto the people shooting at me. But I can't do that. Because your lock-on range in Demon Souls is quite short. It is shorter than you can see guys, which is what I'm getting at. You will have an issue where you can see guys and you can enter their threat aggro range, but you cannot lock onto them yet. And the camera still controls kind of soupy. I think they did do some improvements for the remaster, but it's still a little bit of a sluggish camera, right? And so you run into this issue where you can't lock on to guys, even though those guys can shoot you. And that kind of bugs me a little bit. Like, if I could free aim with my magic wand, I would just shoot that guy and he can shoot me, and it's not like it's unbalanced or anything. But no, that's just simply not how we do things, and it's a little annoying. And that's one of my bother things that, like, yeah, like I said, I think they learned a lot of their lessons with later games, but like I said, this is kind of why it's probably not surprising that the next game was titled something slightly different. It was not titled Demon Souls 2. Because, like I said, the start is rough. There are other issues with the Gates of Proletaria. There are a lot of narrow castle-like hallways and walls and shit, which is not unheard of for these games, but, like, it's literally the first area, and you can't do anything but go here, and it's just like, no, fuck you, tight spaces. What's that? Did you overextend your melee combo? Smack a wall. Bounce off. Get murdered. I didn't actually get murdered, but it's just, like, a lot of, like, annoying things going on in there. Oh, yeah, and then there's those fucking dragons, and your HP pool is halved because you're dead, and you can't unfuck it, and it sucks. I do not like it. I had some weird trouble sprinting. I don't know if it was my controller, but I don't think it is. Like, I would have trouble, like, starting the sprint. Normally, the way you sprint is you just hold on a direction and press circle, and you hold circle and you start sprinting. But I would, like, stutter step sprint. Like, I would stop sprinting when I wasn't out of stamina. Or, like, I would have to, like, press extra hard to actually start sprinting. I don't think that's the fact that my left stick's being a little weird, because it still is a little weird sometimes, but it's not a lot, and I think it depends on the game. Like, when I play Alien, it really freaks out, but, like, in Demon Souls and in Assassin's Creed, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about, future spoiler, like, just very occasionally, I will, like, slightly sidle forwards. Like, not like a severe input, but, like, only a little bit of sidle. So, I don't know what's up with that. But the fact that I was having problems sprinting is very annoying, because you need to sprint through these dumb Dragonfire segments that you can't escape because they're in long hallways that are mandatory, because that's how this game works. So, like, I did my due diligence. I did beat Phalanx, and that leads me to, like, the Nexus sucks, because when you return to the Nexus after defeating Phalanx, you still can't level up. The Maiden in Black says, "No, the Monumental is waiting for your coming," and she points you, like, upstairs somewhere. So you gotta fucking go upstairs to some arch you vaguely remember, because everything is dark and huge, and, like, go through some halls and find some dumb baby child who's, like, explains to you the plot of Demon Souls, but he doesn't need to. He's just like, yo, you need to kill all the demons. We've been waiting for your coming, Demon Slayer. You're doing good. Cool. Anyway, goodbye. And then you can level up. And then you can access all the different maps. So, like, like I said, it's got some real steep stuff in there, and I'm sure this is the kind of thing why I did not play this game more when I was younger. And like I said, even though it's free, and I kind of had fun with like some of my different build stuff, I don't know if I really want to like jump in straight away. Because like it's been a while since I played Bloodborne. But from what I remember, Bloodborne is pretty fast at putting you in the action, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you get your intro movie, hey, you went to this town to look for the blood thing for reasons we don't care about anyway. You wake up.
Werewolves, die!
Yeah, you get killed by a werewolf, you go to the hunter's dream, you find the doll. The doll's like, yo, hunter. And then, like, immediately you can start going to the hunter's dream and leveling up and buying shit and, like, killing monsters. And, like, and those first areas of Bloodborne are actually, like, not really trashy and confined. Like, they're a good step up to, like, what you're doing. Because they're, you know... There's just guys in the streets and stuff. I played Bloodborne for several hours before I like reached areas where I was kind of like, I'm you know slightly frustrated by some of this thing. No. Well, actually, I don't know. The tutorial might have been overhauled, but I think the tutorial was all in game because there is a tutorial zone. You like wander through the void into the what do they call it? The rift, the crack, something. Anyway, you're wandering through empty space, and you find a purple glowy portal, and you go there, and you end up in the... Is it called the Demon's Asylum? The Demon's Prison? You end up in a prison, there's some zombies, there's... All the basic commands are written on the floor in blood messages. Very typical Soulsborne stuff.
I need to find some more magnets.
There is a boss there. You can beat him, but he is intended to usually kill you. Like I said, I did die, because I was, like, getting used to my new build and figuring out, like, my reach and shit. So he murdered me when I wasn't careful. Even if you beat him, you do still get murdered and die and have to go through that tutorial like you always do in these games. But yeah, it's a little clunky. They've definitely streamlined this experience. I do actually kind of, not that I want to go heavy on it, but I do kind of want to now like actually go back and boot up Bloodborne and compare the two. It's really interesting to see like the difference between like different game modes and evolution, and like Bloodborne is very deliberately designed to be a lot faster paced, like especially with the way like healing and hitting works, which is something I always liked about Bloodborne, that like it rewards you for being aggressive. Whereas hey, guess what, Demon Souls is not that. That's very much in the classic Dark Souls, like no, you want to be slow, methodical, turtley, except for the parts where you need to sprint from this fucking dragon. But yeah, so that was my Demon Souls Remastered experience. If you do like these types of games and you have not picked it up, consider it, because like I said, the remastering part is beautiful.
Shiny.
Like, it is a very lovely looking game. But it is definitely kind of interesting about...
Yo, lunch lady, hook me up. Ooh.
Are you going to get the melon pan?
Oh, no, this is the lunch, but... God, look at this food.
Okay, lunch menu. What you got? Yeah, those high detailed stuff.
Let's go with some curry. Let's get the karage and a fucking katsudon. Oh, I still got room for fucking ramen? Hell yeah. I'm sure someone on the fucking Sega team was all like, literally took a camera and was like, alright, I'm gonna go get some food porn. And just snapped all these pictures.
Solid work. I mean, that's hey, you know, photo stats, photo scans. Photo scanning technology is crazy these days. Like, you can literally do it from your phone and do like 3D scans and shit. So. Because
I refuse to believe that this is drawn. I'm pretty sure someone took a fucking.
No. I'm looking at these like, they don't look like fully in depth. So I think they might be 2D static photos, but these are definitely photo renders somehow.
Like these ones, these are made, but like the tuna and egg, this is like.
Yeah. The bottles is like, we have a generic like bottle graphic we designed, and then the like their digital artists edit the labels. But like the shots of those like buns and stuff or the sandwiches, I'm like, yeah, this looks like a 2D photo, like a photo stat.
Okay, good. You have fucking worn magnets. I will.
But yeah, so the other game that I have actually been putting hours into and actually been enjoying, though it is also an old ass game that was remastered, and there are sometimes issues with this. Is I downloaded and for the first time ever have been playing Assassin's Creed, the Ezio collection. I am still on AC2. Though I'm decently in. I did a time skip and stuff. I have assassinated some number of guys. And, so, speaking of, like, remasters and stuff, This one's, it's obviously it was a last gen remaster, right? It was for PS4. They did the Ezio collection.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like quite as high end as the like designed for PS5 remake Bluepoint did for Demon Souls, but it's still pretty good. The facial animations are sometimes a little janky, but like it's still like the models are detailed pretty good. The environments are fairly decent, though some of the textures are just still a little like low res. Now the Ezio collection is AC2, and I don't know the order of Brotherhood and Revelations.
I believe it's
like,
Brotherhood
all the
and
games that
Revelations.
start Ezio. What was that?
I believe it's Brotherhood and then Revelations, yeah.
Okay. That sounds right. Revelations is usually the title you use for the last one. I actually don't think that AC1 is anywhere in there, at least in the PlayStation Extra list. Maybe it's like a PS3 title you can retro stream on Premium or something. But they do have like 3, 4, and a couple of other games. But yeah, so I've been replaying, or been playing for the first time, Assassin's Creed 2, and yeah, it's pretty good. And like, I know a lot of people like to mock the like. There's that very famous internet image of like Elden Ring if it was by Ubisoft. Ooh, look at all this stuff. First of all, especially after playing Demon Souls, double fuck you. Making me find some weird baby that I don't know the name of. She literally just tells me the Monumental is waited and like points upstairs, and she doesn't explain what the fuck it is. Would it have killed you to be like, you need to talk to this small child. He is our last hope. No, it's just, he has been waited for your coming. Go upstairs. Touch the darkness inside of me. The main in black is cool, but she is not very explanative. But also in fun fact, I know at least in AC2, you can turn all that shit off. You can like turn off the mini map and like other notifications and compass bars and HP. You can go full immersive. I do not, because I have not memorized the layout of Renaissance Florence. Though I should double check if there's some icons I can kill, because I will say some of the icon levels are excessive. The fucking posters to like lower your notoriety are like everywhere, and it's a little cluttered. But, like, overall, it's a pretty interesting game to play. I will say I'm going to suspect, like, engine-wise, they probably made some improvements to the parkouring and free running. Because I will say there are some parts of the interface with AC2 that are sometimes confusing to me. I'm still not entirely sure, and I've, like I said, sunk, like, 5 or 6 hours at least into this game over the past week. I'm still not necessarily sure, like, when I should be, like, just hitting X, or when I need to be holding R2 and hitting X, or if I need to hit a different button. Like, there's a lot of context-sensitive buttons to, like, getting around and interacting with the environment. And shout out to Ubisoft for, like, giving you some of these complex options, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's different button commands for running through a crowd versus shoving people out of your way versus tackling them versus, like, not sprinting, just fast-walking, and then X is also, steal from people when not fast-walking, etc., etc. Like, there's a lot of flexibility. It's just that because of, I assume probably because of engine limitations, the game is not necessarily always clear on, like, when you do what. Like, sometimes I find myself, like, trying to platform and get around, and I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to do that, or, oh, I've accidentally, I've accidentally jumped off when I wanted to climb because I wasn't supposed to be sprinting for this part, but to make this jump, I do need to be sprinting. That stuff's still not necessarily always clear to me, but I think you just get a feel for it going through. But, like, yeah, otherwise, well, actually, I will say, I don't know if this is really a complaint, just something that's interesting to me. The game is, like, a bit of a slow burn. Like, you gotta play the game for, like, a couple hours before you even learn to, like, start actually stealthing, right?
Well, yeah.
Like, there's a lot of like solid slow character build up to like Ezio and his family, which is important because this game is a bajillion years old. And it's not a spoiler, but your dad and both of your brothers get murdered in front of your face. It's okay, you murder the guy that did it. You shank him in the streets, and then you're like, "It was me, Ezio Auditore. I did this. I am the assassin. Goodbye, everybody."
Fuck
Money
you.
bomb. A lot of cussing in Italian, which I love. No, that part, like the atmosphere of this game, even though I've heard that actually some of the Italian is like not grammatically correct because Ubisoft had their French division figure out the Italian dialogue, so they did it all with French grammar, which is actually different than the Italian grammar. So like the word choice and stuff is good, but some of the like word order and grammar is not correct, funnily enough. But like the atmosphere of this game is great. Fucking gonna go hang out with Leonardo da Vinci. We're gonna hug. He's gonna give me a cool knife. He plays a prank on you where he's like, "Oh yeah, you used to have to cut off your finger, but you don't have to do that anymore."
I like how I remember that part. I like how he actually slams the knife on the fucking table, and you're like, ah. He's like, ha, 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 I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Just wanted to test your resolve, bro. And shout out to Ezio for just like very little objection. He's just like, "What the fuck are you doing?" "Oh, we have to cut off your finger," and he's like, "Fine, fuck it." And yeah, no, like there's like you don't find out about the quote unquote Assassin Templar conflict for several hours. Now obviously this game is a sequel, so they're probably presuming that people would know about this before, and like obviously I knew about it through like osmosis, right? And I've seen a couple people play some parts of the game before. But it's still, like, I was kind of surprised and quite enjoyed this kind of, like, slow burn effect, and I will probably make my way through, you know, the rest of the Ezio collection, at least, before we start poking around with other stuff. And a lot of people really like Black Flag, and that's the piratey one, so I would probably get to that one at least.
Yeah, I definitely want to try that one, but I'm also curious to see, like, as I heard, Ubisoft is doing, what was their, gonna be their new pirate one? What was it?
Skull and Bones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that started as like we're gonna make the Black Flag pirate boat part standalone, but it is now something completely different. I said this when they like redid a soft launch there, that I'm very interested to see how that turns out.
Mm-hmm.
Because it could go very wrong, but could also be good, because they did in fact make a good pirate boat game before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, a lot of people liked 4, so I want to try that one as well. 3 people seem kind of like middling on, but I've also heard some people say it's more positive than some of the other ones. And they've got some of the side games too. They've got Unity, which was not well received at the time for raisins. That was the infamous, we can't afford to make female models one, and also it was like really, really buggy at launch. But I think some of that stuff got fixed, or maybe it had a bad port. Maybe it was bad on certain consoles. I don't remember exactly. It's been years. There's also, I think, another one is Rogue. I don't remember that one at all, but people say it's good. And obviously they started with Valhalla on there. That one I'm not super keen to like try because. No. They didn't have no female models, but the thing was that for multiplayer, even though you could do this in previous games, they weren't going to allow you to customize your own female assassin. And their excuse was, "Oh, we didn't have time to release this game and like actually do the like a fully playable female model rig." And lots of people were like, "You're fucking lying to me. You're Ubisoft. You probably definitely could have budgeted that time. You just didn't." I believe they were also going through a first wave of stink of like, "Hey, are we sexist at work?" Spoilers. Yeah, most video game companies were, actually. You just didn't find out about it for a few years. For the most part, it doesn't matter if the games are good. I watched part of an Asmongold video. I've been watching him do some other stuff. I don't actually like to watch him play MMOs. Actually, no, that's not true. I probably would like to watch him play Final Fantasy XIV, but I don't want to spoil myself.
Who? What? Sorry.
Asmongold.
Oh.
Yeah, I've watched some of him to react to some videos, like, and I don't necessarily universally agree with like everything or like his character all the time, but he's been doing this a long time. He seems pretty comfortable with the audience. But I watched part of a video react he did to like the fall of Blizzard, and he brought up a comment that like. And it rung true to me that, like, talking about, like, Riot, right?
Mm-hmm. Like,
Riot has been in some shit. They had to settle for much more money than Blizzard did on some of those, like, sexism and discrimination lawsuits, right?
Right.
Like, so arguably a court found that they were more at fault and they were more in the shit. But you don't really hear about it much these days because they are making good games that people like, right?
Right.
Like, League of Legends still abysmally, terrifyingly popular. Valorant's, popular with people who like those style of games. They just launched a new MMO that people, I think, actually like, right? So, like, when your games are good, nobody gives a shit. But Blizzard hasn't making good games. People have not enjoyed several of the last WoW expansions. I know WoW Classic kind of went through its own growing pains. They did a remaster of Warcraft that was not good. Diablo 3 went through some rough patches but was eventually fixed. But Diablo Immortal and the infamous Don't You Have Phones. The fact that, like, the only thing they have to advertise about Overwatch 2 is how totally diverse we are, guys. We're definitely diverse. We totally care about that, except in China, where we don't care. I think I've talked about this before, but I've heard people say that, like, in, like, all the, like, Chinese trailers and media advertising, like, they don't talk at all about how Tracer is gay in Overwatch. And, like, I'm like, yeah, that's the Blizzard hypocrisy right there. You pretend that you give a shit about people, but you only give a shit about money. It's just that in the West, you make money by pretending to care about minorities and oppressed people, and in China, you make money by ignoring all of that and actually, like, burying it. Cool. Thanks. Love you, Blizzard.
I mean, there has been some shit with China. I remember reading a fucking article earlier about someone dressed in a Chinese person dressed in a Japanese kimono got fucking arrested for it.
Yeah, I also heard about that. Like, guys, China is, like, really oppressive. Like, some people may think that, like, oh, we had, like, literal 1984 bullshit with mask mandates and vaccine checks. China was still locking down cities. Like, I think they are still locking down cities because of COVID. Like, literally, as in, they will fucking, like, put, like, tape over your doors and, like, throw you food over the wall and shit. And, like, if you leave, you're gonna get arrested or worse. Like, they were doing that up to a couple months ago. Like, they are very authoritarian over there. And it is weird sometimes. Well, yes, the mask thing was just overly politicized by people. It literally shouldn't matter. It's just it's a literal fucking safety thing. It's like if you could get something by touching people, would you not put on, like, latex gloves? And somebody would be like, no, fuck you, I'm not going to put on latex gloves. And I'm like, that's stupid. You're going to die. Like, don't even make it like an infectious disease. Just be like, we've had an outbreak of Killium stones. If you touch Killium stones with your bare hands, you fucking die. So wear gloves. I mean, there's a lot of dystopian sci-fi that people don't read enough. You really should. Guess what? Nothing new under the sun. A lot of our great minds of literature and philosophy have already tackled some of these issues. But yeah, no, like, so... But people are really on Blizzard because, like, their games aren't good right now. Mm-hmm. From my understanding. I don't know for sure. I've never really been a WoW head, but, like, I know for a fact a lot of people have disliked several of the recent expansions they've done. The Dragonflight expansion they're working on may or may not be okay. It's got dragons in it, so that at least they know how to appeal to their audience, right?
Who doesn't like dragons?
They're gonna be a new playable dragon race, Lucky. That's gonna get people back to WoW.
I mean, if I wasn't knee-deep...
dragon now.
If I wasn't, like, knee-fucking-deep in Final Fantasy XIV, that would have perked my interest, but I'm already a fucking dragon girl, so...
Yeah, no.
Good luck, fucker.
Yeah. No, we'll know when WoW is doing the ultimate sellout when they actually include actual cat girls.
That's so true.
Like, WoW has always been a furry-ass game, and nobody should tell you otherwise. Have you seen a Tauren? That's
Big
before
lads.
They also got the Worgen, the literal dog people. And the Horde also gets, what is it, Vulpens? They get actual factual fox people, which is furry as fuck.
Okay, I haven't had a chance to be a fox person. That interests me slightly, but not enough. But not enough.
I think it's Horde exclusive, but yeah, it's Vulpera or something. I don't even know if it's available. It's like several expansions in. I don't even remember what, like, the requirements are. There's some weird shit.
Mm.
There's a lot of, like, weird, like, side grades and stuff to some of their races. Like, you can actually play mecha gnomes, because apparently gnomes used to be robots, and then you can unlock actually being a literal fucking robot gnome. That was weird. WoW has some really weird lore.
I feel like this is because they're keep trying to stretch for new interesting things and maybe miss.
Yeah, no. The last expansion they did, Shadowlands, you go to the afterlife, and there are, you can like fuck around with those, like the different afterlife realm factions and stuff. You can join covenants. I mean, and I will say that apparently they did actually have some covenants that were interesting. One of the covenants involves hanging out with, you know, really buff muscle angel ladies, and I'm just like, well, I mean, I know what if I was playing this whole last game, I would. That's the covenant I would join.
Yeah.
But there's also like the Screaming Murder Death Covenant. I think there's a vaguely furry covenant that also is like in the metagame wise is the best one to play. So like you have a lot of people who are like, no, I'm not weird. I need to do more damage, guys. That's WoW. And that's the thing though. They could not be lying to themselves. I from what I've heard of how like bullshit WoW is with some of this stuff, I could totally see somebody picking the furry faction just because the buffs are better, dude. It's dumb, but that do be how it's like. But yeah, no, that's going to be the big dive. But like I said, that expansion wasn't super popular for various reasons involving the story and other bullshit. And like their attempts to like build their own League of Legends didn't really go anywhere. Overwatch has really fallen off, and we don't know if Overwatch... Like, Overwatch 2's in beta. I haven't heard anybody, like, raving about it, so I assume it's just going to be more of the same.
Honestly, that's why I'm confused about Overwatch 2. It doesn't look like they're actually doing anything different. They're just slapping a 2 on it and just keep going.
Yeah, that seems to be what they're going for. I mean, they're moving to a free-to-play model, though I do believe you could get free versions of the original Overwatch anyway. They may just be doing some engine updates and stuff, but like most of it seems pretty similar. I think they're just calling it Overwatch 2 because they needed a PR win. So they're like, we're making Overwatch 2! Call me when they actually have like proper single-player modes to interact with their fucking lore bullshit. No? I don't think this game really do anything different then. And you can do it, by the way. Titanfall 2 had a fucking phenomenal single-player.
BT the best.
Yeah.
I keep just thinking about how BT, every time he launches you, he just gives you that thumbs up right before you fucking lets you fly. Oh, God, I loved it so much. And
then Diablo Immortal is obviously like a horrifying, soul-sucking whale hunting game, like in terms of like gacha shit. Like, I think I've told this on the podcast before, and Lucky was flabbergasted, but no, like people have done the math. Legitimately, to max level a character in Diablo Immortal, you need to like... To do it in any reasonable time frame, you do spend like $1,000 US.
Yeah, no, that's
to
bullshit.
Like keep doing your randomized shit, and like, yeah, no, it's a super whale game. And there were some rumors that Diablo 4 was going to be pay to win, but apparently Blizzard kind of clarified that those leaks weren't correct exactly. I don't know the full detail. So like, yeah, it's just they're in a bad way, and I think people are upset at them because they're not making good games. It's
I was about
like where Ubisoft is. Like, I don't think Ubisoft has done anything, like, really, really bad in a while. They've had some, like, scuffed stuff, but they've also had their, like, constant saga to not get bought out by big publishers.
Yeah, no, they're still fighting that.
Yeah.
But, no, I say Ubisoft, like, Ubisoft isn't bad, but they're kind of mediocre at the point.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly where I think, like, EA is right now, similarly.
It's like, you can pick up one of their games and you can have a good time with it, but you're gonna, like, usually not be, like, that impressed with it. Like me with, like, Far Cry 6. I like Far Cry 6, but I don't feel like I'm really doing anything new or special. It's like...
Yeah, I was just thinking of Far Cry. It's like, you could knock the numbers off of Far Cry, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference, right?
Not really, no.
Like, they're very samey. I think a lot of the Assassin's Creed games are similar. They keep trying to, like, give you new environments, but they're not really doing anything different other than, ooh, you're a Viking, you have 2 axes now. Never mind that has any fucking thing to do with Vikings.
Yeah.
Are we the Viking game? I don't know, because God of War was fucking phenomenal, and also there was this really popular fucking historical drama Viking show on the History Channel that people really liked, I think was why. It's very market chasey.
I mean, here's a question. Is there any cultures that, like, wielded 2 axes? I like wielding 2 axes. I love axes.
I don't actually... Dual wielding is historically not accurate because in real life it does actually make you shittier.
Mm.
Usually. Like, the only thing you would ever see is you would have in like Renaissance style dueling, like fencing, you would have the main gauche, the parrying dagger, because that doesn't fuck with your hand-eye coordination to have your offhand just be like, no, away, go away.
Oh, I need one more fucking gleaming aluminum, son of a bitch.
But like, I don't actually think that like dual wielding swords or axes was popular outside of fiction ever, because it's really hard to coordinate. I mean, I'm not gonna say that nobody has tried to like wield double axes. One, either because they thought it was cool, or just because, listen, if you're fucking wearing nothing but a kilt and some blue paint, and you've got 2 axes, you might just go, why the fuck don't I just use 2 axes? It's just, that was probably not a taught and studied fighting style, because it is suboptimal.
Well, Axe and Shield is still great.
Yeah, a classic as well. Yes, that is a good point Axe just brought up. Shields will stop arrows, and sometimes your armor will not stop arrows. And this is good, because arrows are fucking OP in real life. The English longbow cracked. Crossbows cracked.
All right, let me see here. I think I just need one more battery. You know, it's going to annoy me. I'm going to fucking just build 2 more of these, because I have fucking...
You've got the stuff. Buy the parts, build the thing. But yeah, like, I feel like Assassin's Creed has the vibe in like AC2 is like, I mean, they give you warnings like, hey, by the way, this is a game of fiction. This isn't meant to reflect like real religious groups or whatever. But like I said before, the atmosphere in AC2 is really good. Like, it doesn't make any goddamn sense for them to have Italian accents and be speaking in both English and Italian, which is translated in the subtitles, but it works really well, right? Like, when you know, you're going through your business and you're like, that, you know, hey.
Mine.
Hey, hombre, I've seen you hanging out with, you know, you talking shit on my sister. Now you're hanging out with this putana. I'm gonna, you know, clean your clocko. They don't actually say clocko. I can't remember the dialogue from that, like, side quest. Which is very funny. The like, introducing you to, like, different open world tasks is very goofy in AC2 sometimes, but I love it. Like, literally, you're introduced to Ezio's sister, and she's, like, crying in the courtyard, like, Ezio, my historically accurate boyfriend has dumped me. I'm so upset. Go kick his ass for me. And Ezio's like, of course, little sister, I will beat his ass. And you find him in the street hanging out with some girl, giving her rings and, like, you know, playing grab ass, and you're like, yo, motherfucker. And then you just kick the shit out of him. You know, shit like that. And yeah, no, it's dumb, but it works. I like it. And it builds character, you know. The auditories are a very fiery people. Hell, you're literally introduced to Ezio. You have a fucking Romeo and Juliet-ass street fight. You run into your boy, you know, I don't remember his first name. It starts with an F.
Oh, I'm in the wrong menu. I'm like, why don't I
think
remember?
It's historical. It's something the Pazzi.
There we go.
Because his dad's Francesco de Pazzi.
All right, so I just need one more gleaming aluminum.
Vieri de Pazzi. Played by Yuri Lowenthal, by the way. Doing a very, very stage Italian accent, but he can't hide his voice. So yeah, your fucking little gremlin rival guy is Spider-Man, but Italian.
I mean, I always think Raiden when I think Yuri Lowenthal. That's usually my go-to.
He's got a lot of stuff.
He does.
But yeah, no, you start a fucking street fight. So hey, by the way, if you guys ever decide to go further south into the Polish League and visit like Rosa or Villeto or something, you're gonna hear a lot of bad Italian Assassin's Creed accents and have to do some weird stuff.
I don't know how far we're gonna go, but I am gonna force us to go to Veritas for reasons.
Yeah, I've been debating, and we'll bring this up later because obviously we're still in the middle of one quest, and then you got a second one to do, which requires you to go back across the border.
We gotta go back.
Marty, we gotta go back. But that's definitely going to be like a question, like when we take a break for more playtest stuff, is like, hey, where you want to go? Do you want to go? Do you want to go like further north and like follow up on that stuff and like get deeper into the Ghost Woods and closer to like the Highlands and other stuff, or do you want to go like south down the river and have like Police League adventures?
I mean, I definitely want to go to the fucking. Personally, I definitely want to go to Veritas and at least attend the festival. Oh, I can. Oh, I ate that in the face. God damn.
Bang. Your face of iron. I mean, there's not much further east. Oh wait, no, yeah, east. East, you got a lot of east to go, but that's. You're talking about going very east, which is where you guys left from. You came out west.
All right.
We don't talk about the Dreamlands Loft. They might not even be real. Could be a legend. Could be fake. I've pre-built in MMO style expansions to my game. You can add extra bullshit.
Here we go. Gleaming.
But yes, I'm enjoying Assassin's Creed, and I will definitely probably be using it for inspiration for certain random crap for you to do. Whether that's like, you know, running into like street fights and other things, or you know, just you know the Renaissance drama, or there's some weird shit like there's some double secret, super huge Roman catacombs under this church that are like really tall for some reason that you got a platform in. Why? Don't ask questions. Assassin's Creed. Well, if anybody checked the GM's document, you would notice that the Assassin's Springblade is in the evil artifacts section, and it is associated with a group of assassins I already thought of.
Wait, did you just put that in there?
Yeah.
Ah.
No, not just. That was like 2 days ago, but yes. I'd say if anybody was like checking the change logs.
I don't know if I can actually have access to the change log now that I think about it. I think you have to be able to change things in it. I'm not sure.
I think you can view previous changes. It's not easy to check, though, because it's not like Google lets you jump to the changes. It just highlights them for you.
Oh, excuse me.
The Assassin's Springblade is actually kind of funny, because, like, it's meant to be the hidden blade from Assassin's Creed, so, like, you don't, it has prepare 1, because you do need to, like, prepare it, and it has some unwieldy for balance reasons, so just you can't get free blades. But it does actually specify, like, hey, when this weapon is prepared, it doesn't use a hand. You can still have both your hands and also still use the spring blade.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's just, you know, interesting little things. That was why I was like, can I, this, you know, the hidden blade's very iconic. When am I going to do this? Yeah, sure, we could fit this in. We could do some fun with it. I'll give it, like, a little prepare because you have to, like, spring load it. I'll give it unwieldy because you're supposed to, like, need to have a certain amount of flexibility to do it. There's some special training. But, you know, give it some piercing stuff. And there you go. Got a little wrist blade. It also gives, like, I think 2 black dice to perception checks to realize it's a weapon when it's hidden, because it just looks like you have a little bracer or wristband. It's just a cool little thing. But yeah, like I said, I have different ideas for wherever you guys want to go next in playtesting, but I was going to pitch that to you. Like, do you want to go north or south? South being, like, more urban, more, you know, stuff like that. Possibly some seafaring stuff. Because, you know, there's lots of boats in the Polish League. And eventually, if you guys wanted to, like, we wanted to playtest some, like, high-level bullshit, you guys could, like, go to the Saltlands or Old Lemuria or something. But if you go north, then you can hang out in the Highlands and the Ghost Woods. Shit like that. We'll see what the team thinks. By the way, go watch Gensakai, Episode 3, out now. I changed the title a couple of times because that video wasn't doing as hot as the other ones, though it's still doing okay for an AP. It's not like nobody's watching it, but not as much of the big growth we experienced. Maybe it's because neither of the quotes was as funny as the first couple. I really like the title Verna Take the Wheel, and that's still the metadata, but thinking back on it, that may be a little too obscure for, like, the general learning audience if they haven't picked up on that yet. Because, like, I know you reference it a lot, but the episodes are very long. People, like, might not be as into it as others. So I tried Scarecrow Kart Racing, but that hasn't really done a huge jump in views, and I don't know what else to call it. Because we had a lot of different names. But there were a lot of themes about scarecrows, carts. boars, boar carts, cart boars. Our next one will probably involve boars and traps, because I had to write trap rules, because Dallas was like, Omega, I'm going to build a bear trap, and I'm like, seems legit.
Sorry, I'm just slightly irritated at Dallas because he has that premise. He's like, I don't believe in dire boars. It's a bear, and I'm just all like, why?
Yeah, Dallas does do that sometimes. I think that some of that is his way of handling when he's like shitty at skills, like talking about, because that came up in the conversation about survival, and he's like, oh, I'm not convinced it's a dire boar because I, completely bollocks my role about that. It could be a bear. But then there's like, no, people have seen it. It's a boar. Ah, whatever. Is it love? I don't think I've seen that anime about kids in battle cars. I know there are, like, Metabots was kind of that way, and I think there's a Gundam season like that.
No, there's a lot of little shows about, like, little toy things.
Because those are easy to merchandise.
They really are.
I mean, if you think about it, that's just Transformers. Oh, there's a PlayStation blog about the evolution of the Yakuza series. Interesting.
I mean, it is. God, the Yakuza series has been going since fucking the PS2 era.
Yeah. And
does have, like, I won't say consistent releases, but they have been releasing all the way up until the PS5. Well, technically PS4 with Song of Life, but then Like a Dragon is available on PS5. So
let me see if I can. Is there? You got a good game list? We do. Okay, so let's see. The original Yakuza was 06 on PS2, PS3, and Wii U. Only in Japan on a remaster. Okay, interesting. Still made Sony's bestsellers there. Let's see. Yakuza 2 was 08 in English. Yakuza 3 was 2010. And that was technically the first one to jump to PS3, because the first two were PS2, like we said. Oh, Yakuza 4 came out the next year. Also on PS3. And then 5 was a little bit of a long gap, but that's because they were making side games. There's, I don't even know technically what you would call it, because it's untranslated, but it was like Kurohyo Yuga Gotoku Shinso, and then there was Kiroho 2. Those are both on the PSP.
Mm-hmm.
There was also the weird survival action horror one, Yakuza Dead Souls, on the PS3.
They
that
actually
was a spin-off that existed.
That actually is now a mini game in this one. You can go to an arcade and play like a fucking House of the Dead.
To check in.
Yeah.
That, by the way, was in 2012, so that was peak action survival horror games. And then, let's see, like I said, 5 was in 2015. That was for PS3. And then in 17, we got that was the release of Yakuza 0 and the Kiwami. Which I believe was available on PS3 in Japan, but was only on PS4 over here. Then there was Yakuza 6, and then Kiwami 2. Then they made a fucking Fist of the North Star game in 2018 as well. And then it was like Judgment was 2019, Yakuza Like a Dragon, number 7 was 2020, Lost Judgment 2021. I don't think they're gonna get out Yakuza 8 this year. But they're working on it, so that's probably soon. So they've got a pretty tightened up release schedule, it seems like, with plenty of spin-offs. And honestly, I've heard several comments about this in various podcasts and stuff. Game releases are in a really interesting place right now. Like, obviously, we talked, I think, last week about how it seems like every motherfucking game is like, I don't want to be anywhere near God of War Ragnarok, right? Like, everybody is getting the fuck out of the way. Well, not everybody, but a lot of big releases have been apparently moved, probably for God of War Ragnarok reasons. Like Hogwarts Legacy got pushed back, I think, to February, I think they said. Forspoken got moved back to January, stuff like that, right? Though, as we pointed out with Skull and Bones, Ubisoft clearly doesn't give a shit because they're releasing that like 2 days before God of War Ragnarok. Don't know how well that one's gonna go over, guys. Just saying. I know this game has been in development hell for like 5 years. But there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. But I've heard some people talking about how, like, with COVID, you know, the wind down of Backstreet Boys, when it started, there were concerns about delays, but, like, we still were getting video games at a pretty common clip. And I've heard people talk about how that was probably because those games were mostly finished, right? Like,
right.
Their release dates were pretty locked in, and they just needed final polish. That was pretty easy to do from home. The thing we're in right now is a lot of games like late last year and earlier this year have ended up being delayed, sometimes indefinitely, because the fact that those games were like in the proper heights of production, and that has been harder to transition to doing from home, and whether or not you can like bring people back to work and actually getting people back in the office. And so we're getting a lot of like weird up and down delays. But we've still, some games are decently coming out. We got plenty of stuff on the slate later. You know, Saints Row next week. I believe we're both pretty interested in picking that one up. And I read somewhere on the internet that the publisher announced that they exceeded their they exceeded their pre-order goals by like 100 and they met like 100, almost 120% of their pre-order goals. It was like 118. So hey, guess what, guys? The game's selling. Unless their like pre-order predictions were like abysmally low, like they expected this game to fail, which I doubt they did. They're doing good. I know that some people are upset for reasons. I mean, that is the kind of thing in some of these cutscenes. You never know what's going to happen. I'm blinking my eyes a little. They're a little dry. It's been hot lately and stuff. But yes, video games, they're happening.
So I'm just trying to get through this text real quick so I understand what's happening and why I'm going to help this girl take pictures of criminals.
Yeah. That's totally a normal thing we should be doing.
I'll help you, but only because I can literally kick in a small army's ass by myself.
Yeah, I can face tank a gun.
Also, don't take pictures without people's permission. That's rude.
Yes. And illegal in some places. Oh, no, it's a YouTube video. That's not good. Oops, sorry. There was a sound play there.
Uh-oh.
Curse you, Google News. Can I get, like, a text article? Sorry, I'm just giving my news for, like, stuff I've missed over the week, because I've got other stuff to talk about off and on, but I'm trying to figure out some things. Curse you, IGN, autoplaying your videos. Why does that default to on? And you're going to send me to a login screen. Fuck you. Eat my ass, IGN. Oh yeah, it's literally just a video. There's no article text. They're speculating that like what kind of games are going to show up at Gamescom, I think. When is that? August 24th to 28th. So that's next week. So we will probably see some stuff there.
Exciting, very. Fairly.
Yeah. I mean, I see they had some like links to like their coverage of Games Over Ragnarok on the IGN page. So I'm gonna assume they're betting that we're gonna probably see some more Ragnarok stuff there. There was recently like a recap trailer to like, explain the first game if you didn't catch up on that one. I wonder we might see some gameplay.
That would probably be good.
Then.
I would like to see some of the new stuff.
We're a couple months out, so I would like to see some gameplay just to like as part of the usual news cycle, right? Like usually you show a little gameplay. You know, it doesn't have to be a lot. We kind of know what we're getting, but we'd like to see what's up. But there's probably some other titles to see, and we'll, you know, see what the biz is. But yeah, speaking of games with trailers, let's see. Let me tab back over and see where you're at.
I'm still just hanging over at the Robotics Club.
Because I know that you were jazzed to talk about I Was a Teenage Exocolonist.
I am. So it was only like a few days ago, I believe. But you, as you do, you popped in in our games channel the trailer for I Was a Teenage Exocolonist.
Yep.
Now I have heard of this game, and I'm gonna be real. I kind of was dismissive of it originally because when I first looked at it, this is gonna sound completely fucking. It sounds like there's some isms in here. But
it has a certain art style.
It has a certain art style and presentation that screams inclusiveness.
Yeah,
I want to say, and I will say I am not against anyone's preferred gender or sexual identity or whatnot, but I have a very big thing about not having it shoved into my face, just trying to say, hey, we are a fucking thing. It's like, Lucky very much has a attitude of, I don't care. Not, I don't care in a negative way. I don't care. It was all like, you do you, man. It's literally not my concern. And it shouldn't really be anyone's concern.
Yeah.
To
put it into perspective, a great quote that I love from Asman, actually, when I was watching one of his videos, he talked about, like, because he had some shitters in his chat. Because it's Twitch chat. It's like that.
Yeah, be.
But he was talking about a content creator who is trans and was just like, yeah, nobody gives a fuck about your opinion on people being trans. Just shut the fuck up and move on. And I'm like, good opinion. Solid.
Yeah.
I agree with this.
Yes. But there has been, in recent times, a lot of games that try to capitalize this or very heavily push, the inclusion aspect of their games. I'm all like, and that kind of turns me off from them.
Yeah, the wokeonomics aspect I can see, and definitely if it was just the art style, I would probably not be clicking on these trailers. But there was a very early one I saw that actually showed off some of the ideas, and obviously with a name like I Was a Teenage Exocolonist, I'm just like, well, I want to see what you're about, right? Because space. I like space.
But you showed this trailer, and it's a very lovely trailer. It's very good. Because it's actually almost gave me a complete 180. Because I've come to the decision. Is decision the right word? Understanding. I've come to the understanding that this game is not about inclusion, rather it's about choice, which seems to be a big overall theme about this. Because from what I understand about the game, basically you are going to be the first exoplanet colony. You start out there at 10 years old, and I believe the game takes place over 10 years. I'm not entirely sure.
Yes.
But on top of that, your character creation is really fucking simple. Actually, I actually do like this. You pick your pronoun, whether you're he or she or something else, and then you have a slider. You have a slider defining how masculine or feminine you are. So you can be, a little bit feminine but a guy. You can be, super masculine but a girl. Just whatever. And that's all there is to it. There's nothing else. It's like, that's it. That's you. Go. And after that, you try to survive on an alien planet, and there are a bunch of.
It's got deck building elements.
Yes,
and
a time loop
RPG type stuff.
A time loop mechanic.
Yeah,
and
I'm not sure entirely because they don't use that phrase, but like maybe a little bit of like roguelite kind of things, like with the resetting and stuff. Like it definitely has that feel of like, I mean, they even show it in the trailers. You can absolutely like eat shit and die as a child and get eaten by like a space wolf or something. And have
Oh yeah, no, like that was like the second half of the trailer, just showing all like the bad things. Like even like this one point, a giant monster shows up and it says combat challenge impossible, and I'm just all like, oh my god.
But you can take the challenge anyway.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying like it's a game of choice, and I'm just like, yeah. They actually even explained this because I actually did some reading on it. Basically, everyone in the game is bisexual and whatnot, and because just like they were just like, no, it's just fucking easier. This is supposed to be the utopian future. No one actually gives a shit. And I'm like, no, that's actually spot on.
Honestly, those are my favorite futures where it's just like we just don't even fucking bother anymore. It just happens. It's like Eclipse phases like that, where it's like, yes, some people are particularly conservative. Generally, the game really shits on them, but usually you're just like, dude, we are so far in the future, we have stopped giving a fuck. That is the real utopian future.
Yes.
Where we don't feel like we have to raise this issue because it is not an issue. People just is people's.
Yes. And that's what I'm really jazzed about. Because they were talking about it, you can like your relationships with others, you can be like homosexual, bisexual, asexual, aromantic, and they even said that they even like it was a bit of a challenge, but they also even put polyamorous relationships in there. And I was all like, wow. The polyamorous one was the one that was killer for me because we still have a social hang-up about those sort of relationships.
Yeah, and even outside of social hang-up stuff, my general understanding from people who are into polyamory is like it requires work.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
It's not just like an easy peasy thing.
No, it's not. So I was like, wow. So they put a lot of effort into their choice there, and it looks like the story isn't just gonna be fucking sunshine and pancakes. Things fucking matter. People will change. Things will be hard. I'm like, oh my god.
Literally on the website, they're talking about 10 dateable characters, and they say dog boys, aliens, hot politicians, cold killers. Can you guess what your childhood friends will grow up to be? Basically,
yeah.
Because as we say, they change over time. So like somebody you meet when you're like 10 will be different when they're 20. Spoilers.
Yeah,
funny
so
how that works.
Yeah, no. So I'm just like, I want to go on this journey and discover, because like again, like it seems like a game where a lot of your choices matter and stuff. And I think one of the neat things about it, like we said, it's a deck building game. Your deck is basically built off your memories.
Yeah, your life experiences and the stuff you've experienced will give you like cards you can utilize.
Nah, so I'm like, oh man, it sounds so fucking neat. It's like, I think it's, I like.
Do they have a physical release?
I don't think they have.
They have an original soundtrack. Probably good. They've done a lot of stuff on there. It's on like, I mean, I've seen all the trailers through like PlayStation, so it'll be on PS5, but it's also going to be on Steam. Comes out very soon, next week also.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wow, they got a lot of. Sorry, they got. I'm just like on their website. They got a lot of stuff talking about their soundtrack and stuff. Yeah, no wonder. I have seen at least one character design that I'm immediately like,
I do like all the character designs. They all seem like so unique and colorful.
Oh yeah, they're good. But I'm just talking about like with dateable characters. There's a redheaded girl named Anemone, and I'm just like,
No,
she's
so
in the shot wearing like armor. It looks like maybe she grows up to be a Billy badass. She's so badass she doesn't need to cover her midriff.
No, we're talking about I Was a Teenage Exocolonist coming out. What was it? They say the 25th?
Yes, it is the 25th of this month.
Yeah, I am probably going to pick that up, and I might become floor lucky for a bit. I feel like I might be a little bit of floor lucky.
It seems like there are certain routes. They say there's like 50 endings, some of which are probably bad endings where you get fucking eaten. I think they even say you can get killed. So like, yeah, no, it seems like a game designed to cause some flooring. It's a growing up type game. Game will be available approximately 5 days. Let me see on Steam what the going price is. What's our price here? Okay. I mean, I'll add it to my Steam wishlist, I guess. So you'll tell me when it comes out. Yeah, there's no pre-order, I guess, so I can't see the MSRP. Just you can put it on your wish, just let it know it's out, and the soundtrack will cost you $10.
I'm assuming it's going to be between $29.99 and $39.99.
Probably something like that. We'll see what's up.
Like I said, the graphics, while very well done, and they have a lot of CGs.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like necessarily a complex game. So
No, it's definitely like a more indie-leaning title. Let me see. Where's the? Yeah, there's a lot. The people doing like the art and stuff. They got a lot of musicians. Let's see. Northway Games, copyright 2018, so that's when they started this game. But I don't really know a lot about. Let me actually click on their games for Northway. What do we got? Yeah, this is definitely an indie studio. I haven't hardly. Oh, I have heard of this though. They did a remake of Fantastic Contraption. Puzzle games, doing some stuff. Oh no, that's a Flash game, different, similar name, but something different. But they got a couple of stuff, but they've been around for a while, but nothing really crazy. So yeah, it's definitely like an indie type game. And I'm interested. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming up. Speaking of remakes that look good, the Destroy Humans 2 remaster remake looks fucking phenomenal, like art-wise.
yeah.
But yeah, so we'll check out the game. Maybe not right away, but sometime. Because like I said, that's literally the same week. That's like what, 2 days after Saints Row comes out?
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 days? Yeah. Yeah, it's because Saints Row is Tuesday and Teenage Exo Colonist is Thursday. Might well keep an eye out, and like I said, I'll wishlist it on Steam. Yeah, boy, it's Saints Row. We're doing a reboot. It's coming out literally next week.
I haven't actually seen much on Saints Row recently.
No, they're not really going ham. Like they do have a gameplay trailer and stuff and like story trailers, but they're not really like going ham on like the marketing. They're keeping it pretty plain and simple, and they were just like they put out the boss creator demo that you can carry over and shit like that, right?
Right.
Like, and I kind of feel like they don't really need to do a lot of this drive, right? Because they have brand recognition, obviously, and like going through a lot of different stuff. So it's not, crazy things they need to worry about. It's funny. Amazon is like, yo, these are often bundled together. Do you want Saints Row Day 1 Edition? And also you can get God of War Ragnarok Launch Edition and also Hogwarts Legacy. And I'm just like,
I'm interested in 2 out of 3 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Saints Row reboot comes out next Tuesday. Next Tuesday. It has been very decisive in communities.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, it's woke now. That's a lie, by the way.
I don't think it's
Saints
woke.
Row was always weird.
Yeah.
And, like, arguably, I would say kind of progressive. And character design-wise, they've always, like, not given a fuck. And you can do a lot of weird shit. Like, they did a whole trailer of people's submitted Boss Factory options. Where you can go from being, like, normal man, normal woman, to literal walking metal statue. Be a fucking vampire. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Big on that whatever in. Now, what is this? Oh, Amazon's trying to sell me the first volume of Delicious in Dungeon. That's probably a legitimate sale, but they are doing an anime adaptation by Trigger.
Oh, what was it, Dungeon Meshi?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They use
no.
the translated name Delicious in Dungeon, but yeah, I'm like, well, that's probably a good bet, Amazon, but you're a little late because they announced the anime, and I'll probably wait for that. Because I have seen on the internet, lots of images from the manga.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny enough because Trigger actually did do the original. I think I mentioned this, but they actually did the original CM for the manga way back because they like to tease people with what animation could be. I'm
Yeah.
still mad about the Strange Fake and the Ancient Magus Bride ones.
Yeah, when we get the fucking anime studios to just cut us a fucking promo, and it's like, oh my god, guys, come on. But yeah, no, they did work on that, and they, I believe, officially announced that will be an upcoming series. Will be the actual factual adaptation.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I'll check it out. The themes are definitely appropriate for stuff we are interested in.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Going in dungeons, you learning how to make food, perf.
Having an adorable elf. Wait, what? But no, you on the internet, you may or may not have seen some screen caps from this series because there's some very funny ones out there. Not even related to food. There's one I've seen with a mimic that's hilarious. It's like inhabiting a suit of armor, and they knock the hat off, and the mimic's legs just come out of the helmet, like the thing, and skitter away, and everybody's just like, ugh. They make ugh faces.
That's something to be ugh about.
But yeah, there's always lots of stuff. Like I'm looking at the PlayStation fucking channel right now, and I'm like, God, I don't even remember half these trailers. Though there is this one, I don't want to click it because I don't give a shit. But there's a fucking trailer for something to do with Call of Duty Warzone, and I'm just like, we're literally just fucking aping Metal Gear Solid here. There's an angry old man with a beard. Oh, well, I should say older man with a beard and an eye patch, and I'm like, fucking, what are you doing? But there's some other weird stuff. I saw a trailer, for instance, for a game called The Entropy Center, which looks like, yo, what if we did Portal, but we have characters who talk. Your gun talks to you, and also you talk to the gun. And they have some, like, weird time-related shenanigans, but that's very much in the, like, Portal genre, like, first-person puzzle game. And it's just, like, neat. So many of these are just neat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's an explanation trailer for fucking Way of the Hunter. Well, I will click watch later on that, and I will check that out later, because that was that first trailer was kind of like bamboozled us a little bit. They had a very extensive trailer for fucking JoJo Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R, which is pretty funny. It goes, by the way, goes to show you a lot about the way that, like, anime and, like, the general, like, oeuvre has gotten these days, where, like, this trailer is in Japanese subtitled with, like, the original Japanese actors doing the dialogue. Because the trailer is, like, hosted by Koichi and Rohan as, like, an explanation thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk through all the subsystems and stuff. And I'm just like, that's really neat. Also, shout out to those actors for, like, actually showing up and doing that. Because, as we discussed earlier, sometimes actors or their agencies can be have a little bit of the prima donna problem. This is not that. Oh, and I should link Lucky this trailer if he cares. But there's a trailer for PlayStation put out 2 days ago, Plague Tale Requiem gameplay trailer.
Oh, I do need to check that out.
I will float that to you now. I think this is copied correctly. Yep. Like, it's on the one hand, it's probably bad for my wallet, but I do actually appreciate, like, following, like, PlayStation directly and getting trailers and, like, figuring out what stuff is on. Because, like, some of it's just, like, whatever, but other times you'll see games that you're like, I literally didn't know this existed, and damn, this looks good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite the same effect, you know, like the following the Final Fantasy XIV YouTube channel. So sometimes you get interesting things, like they have scheduled a fuck ton of music videos, and I just see these like upcoming, and I'm like, What are we doing? See what we got going on. Anything interesting going on YouTube? Well, for some reason, the guys at Team 4 Star decided to start doing like a little in-depth creator commentary thing for DBZ Abridged. That'll probably be interesting. Hope they keep up on that series pretty regularly. They're coming up on 15 years of doing that project. That's a little freaky deaky.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah. Oh, actually, that does remind me, though. Speaking of games, though, on Steam and stuff, I found another game that we may be interested in trying out sometime.
Oh, really?
Across the Obelisk.
Oh.
It is another roguelite deck building game. I say roguelite because like there's you know the run aspect to it. You can like get some randomized stuff and die and have to start over, but it's not like that serious. But it's a deck building game that is up to 4-player co-op.
Okay.
So I've told from people like reviewing it that and like speaking, if you follow YouTube channels Omega follows, Remy did a video on it, and Biggest and Fibby did a video. I haven't watched on it yet with some other content creators out there. But basically, I've heard from those people reviewing it in single-player mode. It can actually be kind of hard because you have like 4 characters you can pick from. Like you've got like a warrior, a rogue or ranger type, a wizard, and I don't know. I think a healer is the 4th one.
Mm-hmm.
Classic stuff, right? But when you're playing single player, you're running all 4 of their decks at once.
Oof.
So you have to like learn every character's engine and like how to improve them and do the thing. But if you're playing it co-op, then you can play with up to 4 people, and so you don't have to do that. Like everybody can focus on just learning what their character and their deck does. And it seems like really interesting and stuff. And I've mentioned it to a couple of other people as well. So like that definitely seems like a kind of a thing that would be like both up our alleys, because obviously, you know, like deck building games and like fantasy stuff. I know a couple of other people. It is on sale right now after coming out, but it is only 25% off, so it's still like $12. I think it's like, or is it like 15? Yeah, it's 15. It's $20 full price.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm not ready to pick it up right now because, like I said, I am planning on making several purchases shortly. But I will keep an eye on it. Amazon's gonna come bill me for, you know, Saints Row, and then also I'm gonna order some new Cardboard Crack. There's a new Yu-Gi-Oh set coming out I really want to get into. I have just bought Lucky a birthday present. Yeah! I don't like... And I've talked about this before. Anxiety-wise, even if I know I have plenty of money, I don't like to, like, dump a whole lot of it at once. It gives me the agita. Even if I know I'm not going to bankrupt myself, I'm just like, hold on, space it out a little bit, space it out. Let it roll, let it come naturally. Possibly let the revenue come in. By the way, the revenue numbers for this month are a little low. I would appreciate if you guys, you know, watched more videos or threw more channels at us. Gave us some extra juice. But, you know, the Let's Talk was also like our #1 video by quite ahead of our other hits, so Lucky, the All-Ibuki thumbnail's really working.
Perfect.
At least one commenter was surprised it got past YouTube, and I was like, nah, I figured it would. Clyde didn't object, so there's no like weird placement of thighs or the thigh area to get anybody. So it's just a back shot, and that seems to like be less weirded out to YouTubes and the like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll say this as a Paradox guy, or at least I like some of their games. I don't know how you afford all the DLC all the time. Like, for Stellaris, like, half of that was, like, big, you know, friendship drops from like, people in the community were like, here, they're on sale. I'll buy you, like, 4 DLCs. But for Surviving Mars, I had to, like, dole those out to myself, like, over the course of, like, several months. And I still don't have them all. There's a lot of Viking stuff happening right now. Biker culture is different, but also very big in Japan. Biker gangs and stuff. The hats, so on. The fucking tall-ass chairs.
It's still appealing.
No, that's pretty good. But no, you gotta race some other biker gang lady right now.
Yep.
on your very ganged out bike. But yeah, Bosuzuku is like a whole subculture thing.
Just another one of them little weird games we do fucking death races.
No. Bosuzuku gangs still exist. It's just the police changed what they call them.
Yeah.
They technically were in decline, but they did that thing where they reclassified what they are, so. Because the police calls them pseudo-Yakuza organizations since, like, 2015.
It's like we still have motorcycle gangs and stuff.
Yeah. So, now, I do think maybe the overall numbers are on the decline, but when you've got, still you've got thousands of identified of bike gangs, they still exist. And like I said, the National Police Agency just recontextualized what they're called. Now, admittedly, I don't really know if, like, with Japan's, like, depending on how their COVID response went, like, if that is, like, a thing why people don't want to, like, gather up. But I feel like there's some distancing involved, and you can cover your face very easily in a biker gang.
Also, they might be in different styles now. They might not, like, be, like, the
Not that iconic, like, the fucking pompadour hair and the really tall bike seats with the extra lights.
Yeah.
Subcultures like looks and fashions are always changing. But that makes, media representation gets harder then, because then you don't know if people will recognize what you're going for. Oh, it's a Sonic attack. I'm like, okay, so I see the fucking guided trailer lines, the fucking mechanic lines. But I was like, what the fuck is happening? But she busted out a fucking guitar. They're trying to shoot you with sound waves from their megaphone bikes.
Yes.
By the way, if you're wondering, this isn't realism. That's not real. I hope it's not. Because that's some supervillain-like shit otherwise. No, this is their version of the bike segments from Final Fantasy VII Remake. I don't think you can ever say that motorcycles themselves really go out of style, though.
No, but like the jump shoes, the pompadour, the literal fucking raid things, yeah, those things probably don't exist fucking more.
No. Though that one guy with like the teal mohawk and the like half a motocross pad, that's the only thing he's wearing. Like that I could see being modern. The look the chick you just beat had, I think, is a little retro with like the jumpsuit jacket but the hot pants.
Mm-hmm. Listen, there's no way you can convince me that there's not a bunch of idiots on bikes running around causing havoc in various cities at various times. That does not...
The kanji from Persona 4. I'm going to renovate your ass. He yelled at biker gangs because they kept his mom awake. Because Kanji is a good boy.
He's a good boy. He is a good boy. But no,
yeah,
listen, delinquency does not
look.
delinquency does not go out of fucking style. It just merely changes.
Yeah, and like if Yagami's look is like old-fashioned, that makes sense.
Yeah, his is old-fashioned.
I don't know if you said it on this stream, but we've discussed him a couple times when talking about the game. He's like 38 in this game, so he's well into his. Well, I don't know if "well" is the right word. Human life expectancy being what it is, but he is in his midlife zone. He is middle-aged. He is definitely. What are you doing, fellow kidsing?
Lettuce Man, I don't understand these words you're speaking. You don't export culture.
Well, you do export culture, but you don't literally export it. Japanese bike gangs, because they're made up of usually like teenagers and college age ne'er-do-wells. It's a oh god, there's a really good name for this that I can't fucking remember. Is it ladder gang? No, feeder gang, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like it moves into like higher level criminal stuff. Like I said, the police literally started reclassifying Bosuzuku as pseudo Yakuza type organizations. I think the stats I saw were that like only like 25% of them are actually connected, but it's still like a thing where you like feed up there, so like you don't like the people in those gangs, they don't literally transpose to Brazil. I don't think Japan has a lot of immigration outside because they have a problem with shrinking population.
Well, no, they did. Like Brazil actually has the world's second largest Japanese population.
Well, yeah, they moved up before. That's part of the reason why, if you would know, Vale Tudo and MMA originated down there. Because
It's Bomber! Yeah! He cleaned up! Sick! This was the boss of the first set of racers. He was the guy wearing like the mohawk and the pads and stuff, and I convinced him to give it up for his true love.
And now he's a clean-cut corporate guy. Well, so long as he's happy.
He is happy, and
that's
what's
he
important.
got his high school diploma. Okay, he's doing good.
He's working on shit. I was really hoping for that.
Oh, her parents like him now.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. But no, I'm saying I don't think that Japan like currently in the modern day has a lot of like immigration out of it per se. They might. I don't know. I could double check the stats. I just do know that Japan does have a slightly shrinking population problem. They also apparently have a income problem. So over the pandemic, a lot of traditional like Japanese bars closed because you can't really do that socially distanced. And apparently the Japanese government's revenue on alcohol tax is way down. Like, I think I don't remember what year it was. It was like 1990 or 1980. It was like 5% of the government's revenue was the tax on alcohol. And now it's like almost 1%. So apparently the Japanese government is farming ideas to have a pro-drinking campaign. They want young people, because over the pandemic, young people were not drinking. So they're like trying to come up with a campaign to like encourage people to go out and buy more booze, even though the National Health Agency has been like, yo, you need to drink less.
Yes, I just said that, Carlos. It's literally in Brazil.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's like if the biggest Japanese population is in Brazil, yes, they probably do have, bike gangs and whatnot in there.
Yeah, and if they're like emulating an older style of the culture, like we said, we don't know if like the literal fashions that this game represents are the same, because it's a game that's meant to like harken back to that thing. And I'm gonna assume it's probably very intentional that Yagami is like the age bracket he is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's probably part of, like, their marketing and target audience. There's a reason why lots of, like, shonen anime aimed at, like, 12-year-olds star alleged 15-year-olds. Alleged first years in high school.
Allegedly.
Listen, like I said, I have seen how some of those people are built. I remember Ichigo Kurosaki pre-time skip. He was supposed to be 15. That was the joke. But he's still, like, fucking huge. He's, like, probably more than a foot taller than Rukia. And, like, he's fucking shredded. Especially after training arcs, and all that's before the time skip. It's fucking nonsense. Is there a decent amount of Japanese population in Mexico? That I did not know. Yeah, I mean, Chad's super huge too, though part of that is because of his background. Speaking of Mexico and Japan.
Okay, Carlos, if I put in which has the largest population outside Japan, and it does something does not say Brazil, that means you're just being fucking wrong, my dude. So let's type it in. Let's see here. Let's see here.
I mean, like, I know we have a decent Japanese population in America. I have been to Japantown in LA.
Let's see here.
I bought some aviator sunglasses that I still have to this day in some subculture areas of LA. I don't know if Giorno actually went to university. I thought he was just staying at a dorm for like a boarding school because his mother was terrible, and he didn't want to live at his fucking home.
Oh, actually, no. The number of Japanese in Brazil has actually been on decline, actually. And the U.S. is at the top. Strange.
So we're all wrong. Information changes.
Well, let's see. This study I'm looking at, though, looks like 2018, so things could have changed. But if I'm looking at these stats correctly, Brazil is like 7th.
Yeah.
Let's see, it goes United States, China, Australia, Thailand, Canada, Britain, Brazil. Like I said, they're all, like, also, this is statistics, so shit could be wrong on this in general.
True, yeah. That's surveying and extrapolating. Stats, everybody.
And also, Carlos, just because you watch Japanese Mexican videos doesn't mean anything. Do you know how many fucking things are translated into other languages? God, I have trouble fucking dealing with Crunchyroll sometimes because they'll just put all their translations into a single thing. I'm all like, all right, I have literally like 10 versions of this to watch. I'm not sure which one is the fucking, Japanese with subtitles one. Because they'll have the original with subtitles, then they'll have the English dub, German dub, Russian dub, Spanish dub, fucking French dub. I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, I think it's still costly, but I think that translating into different languages is getting cheaper and easier these days.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, and then there's machine translation, which is still very clunky, and you need to supervise it. But like, it's getting a lot more accessible. There's a lot more like easy to put it language options for different games and productions.
I'm trying to find some more recent numbers because things could have fucking changed. But from what I understanding, the migration to South America and such areas was back during World War I. And then it had a big flux with like having over a million Japanese citizens at one point, but it's been apparently on the decline. I did not know that. I do
know that at least in my readings for stuff, that economically Japan is still usually Japan and Australia are usually still pretty tight with South America as like business partners. And if there's a decent amount of subculture stuff, but yeah, the main thing is that means you need to for your population to stay growing. That means you either need more immigrants or you need your population to like stay extant and not blend. And like I said, with Japan's own shrinking population problem, they may just not be emigrating to many places anymore, and the existing population has probably not been going out there. Brazil does have its own issues as well.
Yeah.
Lots of places have issues, Spain was on fire last week.
Oh, Jesus, was it?
Actually, is Spain still on fire? I don't know. Can I Google that? Will that give me results?
Well, Carlos, I don't know the fucking level of, Japanese speaking Spanish or Spanish speaking Japanese or Mexican. Please insert whatever, Latin language you want in there. And be proud of it or whatnot, but I'm pretty sure it is probably not as large as you think it is.
I mean, it's still probably a distinct subculture.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We are noticing things, but there's a lot of that everywhere. Like, obviously, like, I've, lived in Florida a lot of my life, so there's a lot of bleed over of, like, people speaking Spanish bilingually and like, Spanish stuff in the general grammar. There's also, though, a decent amount of, like, French.
Well,
though, as well, with, like, other certain influences.
I've
like, in college, I met a lot of, like, Haitian immigrants.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, man, I live in, like, freaking Washington. Like, God, we have... Like, I literally can, like, we'll take a walk and just transfer through, like, 3 different fucking Asian-style districts. We have, like, a lot of Korean. We have a lot of, like, multilingual Koreans, multilingual Vietnamese, Japanese, Chinese, just all up in, like, this place.
And that's just all the kind of, like, weird stuff. Like,
yeah.
a lot of our, like, in America, a lot of our Vietnamese immigrants because of the war and, like, literally taking as many people out as we could out of Saigon and shit like that. And like they, are kind of part of like a dedicated like subunit in our culture.
Actually, I should actually look up the ethnic diversity in Washington, just see how we're actually split up here.
Though, fun fact, I believe I think I've mentioned this before because we've talked about.
I'm gonna clear this fucking car. Go! Yeah, I did it that
the
time.
Singularity War type setting stuff. But like, my understanding from like people on the internet and general reading is that like, post-war Vietnam is still arguably like even after the war stuff decently tight with us.
Really?
Yeah. It's because it's like a lot of things in culture. It goes back to the fact that while we did have our little like 10-year spat with Vietnam, they're still next door to China.
Ah, that makes sense.
And they have a lot longer of a history with China.
I mean, who doesn't at this point?
I think the People's Republic of China tried to invade Vietnam like only a couple of years after we pulled out, and it didn't go any better for them. By the way,
Of course it didn't.
it's like, honestly, it's one of those things where like don't invade Russia in winter. Let's just not go to Vietnam. It sounds like a bad time. Mountains and jungles. Seems like it sucks. In wartime conditions, I'm sure it's really nice in Vietnam. Though I don't know, I gotta admit, living in Florida, which is mostly like swampland, I don't know that like jungles sound any better.
Swamp.
That's hot and humid. So yeah, it's just kind of funny how these things work out. Like I assume a lot of the like history with like Korean immigrants goes back to the Korean War, which is again Daddy U.S. put on the big anti-communism pants. History picks up a lot of weird things,
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I wonder, speaking historically about that stuff, like, I know that the U.S. had a lot of German immigrants early on and throughout different periods of our history, and I really don't know what the cause for that was. Like, obviously, like, if you're talking about, like, European groups, obviously America has a lot of British influences because it was, the 13 colonies that became the United States were British colonies originally, but there was some overlap with the French. And obviously later we acquired territory and rights from the French and so on.
Sorry, just weird things happening.
You cannot go through the magic light wall. It's very real. It can hurt you. So like if you're wondering about like French or English-speaking groups in America, that makes sense. Obviously, a lot of the just hilariously huge like Spanish language influence because those guys were fucking everywhere. Similarly makes sense. But yeah, I don't know a lot about like the German angle. Other than that, historically at different time periods, like areas of Germany and so on and Austria have been closer tied to England than they are now. And were historically.
I don't know. Things are all mixed up.
Yeah. I mean, America's always been a pretty... Well, there's also the Pennsylvania Dutch. That's a huge thing as well. Like, America has always been kind of... I mean, it makes sense. There's arguably, like, almost everywhere is human immigration because, we emerged at some point probably in Africa and spread out from there. I haven't actually looked at where we found our earliest Homo sapiens fossils. But, like, America really is kind of like the immigration country. Because, like, even the original, like, indigenous peoples became indigenous to here by, crossing the land bridge and the ice stuff in, during the glacial maximum and all that shit and spreading out down here. And then, going through different civilizations and obviously the European colonization efforts and the consolidating. But, like, if you think about the history of, like, actual, like, America stuff, like, it's very weird. Like the Louisiana Purchase, right?
Yes.
Like, that's just, hey, Napoleon needed some cash now, and just was like, fuck it, we'll sell America. I don't give a shit about America. I'm here to, punch Austria and England and Russia. So, like, and that was just like, fuck, well, all this land that was, like, orchestrated by the French, I guess that's ours now, legally speaking. And we can discuss America's history with indigenous populations at a different time. But, like, further than that, then there was, like, well, we got into fights with fucking Spain and Mexico about parts. Because the Mexican territories went very far up. They used to, quote-unquote, own California. You know, and I've seen some, I've kind of gone through most of them, but there's some very funny stuff. This actually, you know, you might know some stuff about this thing, Lucky, considering you live in the Pacific Northwest now, but, like, there were actually used to be some disagreements about, between England and Canada and America over how to split the Sound.
Oh, yeah. Listen, the sound is
know,
very fucking important.
Yeah, it's very big, it's very important, and... Like, generally, the, like, how we decided where the border between America and Canada has gone through, like, some weird stuff. And, like, some geographic things. Let me see if I can find the video that I first watched on this subject. Yeah, I think it was called, yeah, The Pig War Oversimplified. I like how, by the way, this guy's channel is oversimplified, and it's, this video is 40 minutes long. It still is obviously very simplistic, but this has a lot to do with the like, actual factual. Almost accidentally played his NordVPN ad on the audio version. Hey, NordVPN, when are you going to give me ads? I'll show NordVPN. I don't have a VPN right now. Go for it. Or, hey, you know, like, fuck it. I'll shill Raid Shadow Legends. I hear they pay really good. I'll try out the game. I'll do ad copy. Let's go for it. Where's the sponsorships? Call me. Let's see. There's a lot of history about, like, where the lines are and stuff like that. And apparently, I believe... Oh, yeah, I'm seeing it right now. British Canada wanted to, I don't know what river it is in Washington, but they wanted to actually, like, lower the border from the straight line it is. Because that's due to a treaty, by the way. Is, like, why a big chunk of the border between America and Canada is just a fucking straight line. It's not based on any geography. It's just, we decided a longitude that was like, yeah, this is where we are. But apparently, British Columbia above? Or is that a different area? Robin's Malden right now. I don't remember the province location exactly.
British Columbia is right above us.
Okay, yeah, that's the Vancouver one. See, cities I can remember. It's the territories I'm not good at. But yeah, they actually wanted that to go down past where that is because they were interested in the beaver trade. Beaver furs. But let's see. Let me see if I can find where the joint occupation agreement, and then they read through the border so that on one side of the Sound was America, and on the other is Vancouver Island. But here it is, the Oregon Treaty of 1846, where they wrote that the line of the boundary shall be the middle of the channel separating the continent from Vancouver Island. So just in the middle of the Sound, in the middle of the channel there, that's where the border is. Where in the middle? We don't fucking know. And then this oversimplified video link is about a almost war that happened because of disagreements about what those islands that are in the middle of the Sound are. I believe they are firmly American now. But I'm not sure, actually. Yes, the Pig War. Called so because it was almost started because of some... a pig was shot because it was fucking with somebody's potatoes. This was also, like, immediately before the American Civil War, so there are some funny names you'll see later in there. If you go to watch it. Okay, so let's scratch that one on. Yeah, I'm good. We talk about some different games and game trailers. Lucky's doing a different minigame now.
Listen, I can just do mini games like...
Oh, no, I figured. Let's see, this one's dice-based? Was this one kind of like a board game thing?
Yeah, no, it's basically a VR version of a Sugoroku. Which is just, you know, what she does is just roll dice, move spaces.
Yeah. Pretty neato. I think I only got one other really big thing, other than probably... Nah, I don't really need to talk in depth about Jinsekai right now. Other than you should go watch the AP, support us on Patreon, download the audio. I fixed it. It was broken for some reason because Patreon has done something with their website setup that my computer doesn't like. But it's fixed now.
It fixed.
It's okay. I fixed it. I re-uploaded it. It's good.
Oh yeah.
Same post. Still good. I have been doing a little bit better of my work-life balance, like still chipping away, but not going crazy all the time, and having some fun with it. We're through Undead now, and I'm starting on Elementals.
Mm-hmm.
Undead was fun. You have a wide variety of various zombos and grombos and other stuff. He's a big scary guy at the end.
Yes, very scary.
And we have the thumbs up. We like him. He's good. More lore building, more fun stuff. You know, Dallas would probably find that interesting, but he won't ever fucking read it. Because he won't have the time, because he'll be able to play his 9 millionth run of Darkest Dungeon or whatever. Okay, I think that means I've got a full house of people who read the section on traps, except Dallas, even though I called him out on it. I mean, I pointed him to it, so he might have actually read some of the rules, but we'll see.
Oh shit, did I actually go the wrong way? Fuck.
Rip.
I was too much in the zone.
I mean, Dallas does read, it's just you have to, like, hardcore point him to something to get him to read. Like, he'll read the stuff eventually, it's just that that's not, like, where he starts. God, the aesthetics of this minigame are so weird, but I like them. That motherfucker hit you with a bicycle. They've all got bicycles.
Yep.
Well, you know, you can beat their ass and let them know that they shouldn't be taking a bicycle to a nightstick fight. It's simply not something we do here. But yeah, so shoot through Undead, working on Elementals now. We're going to have some fun there. I've got some different stuff going on. One of the names I have for a thing, but I haven't done the stat block yet because, like I said, I'm doing a little better about, you know, playing different things and working on other stuff occasionally and having fun myself. There is the bonbon, which is Esperanto for bomb. And so if you've played a Final Fantasy, you should now have existential terror.
Do they actually gorge and fucking blow up if you feed them their elemental type?
They might. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Like I said, I haven't written the stats yet. I am planning there to be a self-destruct feature. I think it'll actually be like they can do an attack that'll have a blast but be centered on them, so they damage themselves always, and it'll be enough to kill them. They'll be minions. And then they'll also have a special ability to spend at a point to do that, story point, when you defeat them or kill them with a crit. But maybe I'll have it trigger when they take fire damage as well. Because being like a minor fire elemental, they will probably be protected from fire in some way. So I could also cue that too. If you accidentally fire them, then they explode as well. I was mostly just thinking of the funny thing where, like, you know, Axe likes to crit minion groups. So I would make a minion group where if he did that, they would literally explode. Occasionally, you can write enemies who, like, subvert the expectations of the game system. It would take a story point, but you hella know I'm going to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But I've just done a couple of rough runs. Like, I did the air one, Sylphie Sylphs. They're invisible. They're pranksters. Literally, they have an ability called Prank. They steal something from you, and you take 3 strength. If they succeed. It's a check they do, but they can, like, pickpocket your shit and, you know, be annoying and translucent.
Fucking explosions! These guys got grenades!
But they're very fun grenades, Lucky. Look how they flash you with fireworks.
No!
They still knock you on your ass, though. It's okay, you knocked him on his ass, and then he exploded. I mean, you don't have the materials, like, on you to make a luring flask, because you didn't buy them, but hypothetically, you can acquire them.
We can go scavenge them.
I don't think a luring flask is really complex. I'll open the document and check now while I'm thinking about it. But yeah, so Undead will have some, not Undead, and Elementals have some fun. Then Lucky will be very happy. Faye comes after that.
Yes.
And as we continue to work down the line of fun things and plot hooks.
18 spaces. Man, I can go anywhere. But I'm just going to go to the end.
And I did start this week with a very extensive write-up on traps, which are meant to be both player and GM facing, which was something I was already thinking about adding anyway. It's just that I say this on the AP, which you should go listen to, because Dallas and Axel was talking about digging a pit originally as well in session. But like several of the players were talking about pits and stuff, and so I was just like, yeah, well, I mean, you know, we can do some more build up here, but I kind of want to call it a little bit early because
I'm gonna be that guy, and I do want to say, well, Axe might have been talking about the pit in there. I was the one with the pit idea several weeks before that.
Oh, yeah, I'm not gonna. When it got first mentioned, I'm not gonna say if anybody did, but I was definitely leading that line, and I don't want to like discredit Axe because in the AP, he does talk about the pit first. Like, he's like, well, I would like to dig this pit. Can I find some spears? And I'm like, for what? Well, I was thinking of making a spike pit. Like, okay. Yeah. Dallas was like, bear trap.
Bear trap.
Can I make an iron jaw trap? And I'm like, yeah, sure. As soon as I have rules for that.
This is literally the reason right here why I do this mini game, because this is how much money you can make just from doing it.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Big money, no whammies. But yeah, so in the session, people were talking about traps, and I'm like, well, I literally just started writing these rules, so then I sat down and wrote several tiers of trap of various varieties. Spikes, pits, snares, alarms, fires. And then there's some high-level shit that's really freaky. Lightning Gate, Crusher.
Mm-hmm.
And we're probably going to play around with them and see if my rules are stupid broken. Because if they are too broken, especially because they are both player and GM facing, like, players can be subjected to some of these traps. We probably need to fine-tune some of this stuff.
Yeah.
They do wear their sunglasses at night.
Of course you do. I'd say you'd be cool. Let's see. Lure, though. Lure flask. Rarity 4. 125. It's a slightly awkward number to have. That'd be what? 113? No, not 113. It's 125 doofus. Right, 63. That's right. So you need 63 gold worth as materials and an average check. I mean, if you're willing to pay for them, you might be able to... Ow, bonked my knee. You might be able to scrounge them up at the place. Or you can just, you know, roll dice and scavenge for stuff. You do have your mushrooms, and you have some other weird shenanigans. Alright. Scratching my nose.
Alright, I am flush with cash. Thank you, VR game that gave me almost 1,000,000 yen.
Yeah, that's a lot. And that was just an arcade?
Yeah.
It
was a VR game. But the passes you need to play it are hard to get.
Ah.
Like, you have to usually do other mini games to get them. Like the skateboarding mini game or like the batting cages. And I think sometimes you can just find them out on the floor in the wild. But man, it's an effort to get them.
I mean, if it's a limited resource to play, I understand, and I'm glad they made the payout so big. Then, like, it's got to be worth it, right? If you're spending limited items, that's pretty nice.
But apparently, if you collect like 6 of the free passes, you can just play forever. But like I said, I put like, God, how much time have I put in this game? Actually, wrong button.
Yep, can we check?
Let me see here. Save. This is... Yes, I have played 35 fucking hours of this game. Wait, no, more than that. Hang on. 38 hours of this game, and I've only found 2 of them. So...
I see. But still, you got your 40 hours in.
Yep. Yeah, no, like if I continue on the story beats, it'll probably be like another couple hours, probably. But it's gonna.
It sounds like 40 is the good story play.
Mm-hmm.
Axes in there, like usually it's 80 to 100. But that's if you go like full completionist and you do all the bullshit.
Yeah, I have not done all the bullshit. Wait, what was this? Oh, Underground Casino.
40 for a story complete sounds pretty normal for games these days, and then then you can actually add on some extra shit for all the sub quests and other things.
Let's have a smoke real quick.
Smoke break.
Mm-hmm. This actually refills your EX gauge, so you can lay the smackdown that much more.
Yeah. So I think I only have one other real thing I want to briefly mention. If people are following this. So first playtesting has been released for definitely not D&D 6th edition. Totally not that. Yeah, Wizards is apparently trying to move away from numbered edition branding. Probably so that they don't freak out their audience that they have to rebuy all their shit, even though they have to rebuy all their shit. I mean, honestly, it seems more like a 5.5. They're calling it D&D 1. I don't know a lot about it, other than they have a couple of implicit things. One, they are going whole hog on something they've playtested about differences between character backgrounds and like racial selection. So they in Fifth Ed already they did away with racial penalties to most stats. I think you just get bonuses to certain things. Now they are entirely framing it as a background thing. So like if you're a urban erudite orc, you don't get like +2 strength because you're an orc. You'll probably get like plus intelligence or charisma or whatever. Honestly, I'm kind of like, given the way that D&Ds work with like bonuses and in previous editions penalties to the stats you like point by or randomly generate or whatever, I kind of see what they're going for, and a lot of people have raised a stink about it over the years, because like I don't think it's actually biological exceptionalism, but it is kind of close to some racist ideologies of the past. It's a little like that. Splitting it up is kind of different. And I think different systems, like obviously the way archetypes in Genesis and Star Wars before that worked, and nobody ever gave them shit, is you start with lower characteristics, but everybody has the same cap. So theoretically, anybody can be as good as anybody. You just have different startings for whether it's cultural or social reasons or whatever. And Gensekai is kind of the same way. I don't think I ever say that like all pork are stupid, but for min-maxy reasons, porks start with a lower intellect because they are not as fast at developing their brain stuff as their meat stuff.
I think I play intelligent ones pretty good.
Yeah.
I still think my crowning moment is when I was trying to get people to say yes, and Aaron's character, Ryan, said something, but he said like so many words, and I literally just can't keep up with it.
Yeah. I was just like, hold on, I need you to explain that again.
It's like, it sounds like a lot of words just to say that. It's like, I wasn't saying that. I was just saying yes. I'm like, you use like 10 more words than yes.
And it is that juxtaposition because Rion is like I presume 3-int.
Yeah.
I should probably double check some of your character sheets at some point. Not that I think anybody is trying to like go crazy, but it's. Ugh. I probably should be a little more familiar with some of your stats and stuff, just so I know. But yeah, so they've got a full like background thing and whatever, and some mechanical stuff is still there, but obviously these are meant to be biologically distinct species. So and D&D has always been like that. Humans can't see in the dark. Elves and dwarves can. But that's kind of a thing I think they've been working towards too, and like. On the other hand, if it makes people have to think about their characters more than just stat numbers, that's fine anyway. And honestly, some of the background stuff they did for 5e that was not very mechanically important is kind of good. I don't know if they actually changed how spells work. I do know that they have changed some critical stuff. Oh, they've straight up split the schools? because they flirted with that before. In 4th Ed, those are all different power sources. But the power sources are mostly a fluff thing and like what different classes do what. 4th edition is greatly designed, by the way. Anyway, one of the things they've done is they've changed up some of the hit and effect rules. For combat only, a 20 is a critical hit, and you double the amount of dice rolled. This is a great, by the way, fucking attack.
Oh yeah, no. Snake has it's basically surrender takedowns where you don't actually knock them out. You just do something close, and usually they just faint from the stress.
It's killing intent or whatever.
Yeah,
like, I love the like fog effect on that, where like fucking the anime asks like, oh no. But yeah, so what I read is that so in combat, a 20 is a critical hit. You roll the amount of you roll double the damage dice, and a 1 is always a miss. Outside of combat, they are very explicit that that is not how that works. There are no like a natural 1 is not a miss on every skill check, and a natural 20 is not an auto success. It's still called out that that's generally a house rule, but that is a house rule. Personally, by the way, I do prefer it that way. One, because I don't necessarily like the idea that, like, if you don't got the bonus for it, that, like,
whoops.
Oh, well, if I roll a 20 on this check, I still succeed. Like, no. Because I have known some people in D&D, both who I've played with and also just other stuff, that, like, they'll roll dice for anything, and I'm like, I don't like the idea that, like, just because you say you roll the dice and you roll the 20, we have to let you do stuff. No, fuck that. You should not be rolling dice for just anything. But on the converse, if you're really, really good at something, I don't like the idea that even if you roll minimum, you can still, like, you automatically fuck it up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We should do the math anyway. But an interesting thing is that, if I understand this correctly, you can now only inflict the critical hit normally with weapons. So spells do not crit damage. Given that a strong feature of several fighter archetypes in regular 5e was better crits, this seems to be like one of the ways they're trying to address the martial caster split.
Mm-hmm.
And if Axe is correct about they're like splitting up kind of like the different pools of spells into like not necessarily giving you like a spell list per class, but giving classes access to the arcane spell list or whatever, that might actually work to balance some stuff out. I will personally say though that I think it's still a cowardly move on Wizards' part, because you know how you can balance casters and martials? You can just make D&D 4th edition again. That was a game where everybody was, like, similarly on par. It was just, you know, your different class fluff let you do different things, but everybody's output was similar. And I really like 4th for this reason. I just think, unfortunately, the 2 editions came at the wrong time. And obviously, probably part of the reason why this D&D 1 thing is called D&D 1 and it sounds like a 5.5 is probably because 5th edition is really fucking big these days. And it's very popular with obviously like Critical Role and like a whole actual play space on the internet. What is this device you have? Is this a bug finder?
Yep.
I thought so. Looking for bugs. Why is this? Is this an ATM machine?
Oh, what's this? It's a wallet.
Ooh, a bugged wallet. That's got some stuff going on there. But, like, I think that they don't want to be too dramatic in their changes because they don't want to, like, freak out their audience, which is what traditionally happens when D&D switches edition.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, seriously, these days, if they released what was 4th edition now as this, like, 6th edition or 5.5 or whatever, I think it would be a lot more popular because a lot of the things people complain about with 4th, oh, it's too video gamey, it's too, like, MMOs. Well, guess what? If you were, like, against that, you're positively ancient now. Like, I think most people who would be in the tabletop role-playing space still are, like, okay with video games.
I need to summon my dog.
Seen as, like, competition. He's gonna summon dog.
I summoned dog, and now the dog will now lead me to the owner of the wallet because he is a good boy.
So you just pop open your dog app, you show them the clue, and you're like, go at it, boy.
Yeah, and he'll just lead me to it.
Yeah. It's pretty fun. But, like, 4th edition's focus is like, oh, it's too MMO, like, everybody's got powers on cooldown. I mean, everybody has powers on cooldown. 5th edition is the same. It's just...
Listen, if
you can
have...
only use this power so many times per short rest or long rest.
Listen, if... I think I talked about this. If it's a fucking, so many times a day, it has fucking cooldowns. Don't you fucking... Yeah. Don't you fucking at me.
D&D is like that. It's just, they didn't... I think that some of the grogs didn't like that everything was codified that way explicitly. Everything was on the explicit, like, this power curve.
I think my big issue...
say that 4th wasn't super good for role-playing, but it still had, like, skill challenges. It had commentary on stuff, and there were utility powers. There were non-combat powers explicitly.
I think my thing with 4th edition wasn't necessarily its gameplay. It's just I feel like it didn't have enough, like all the number crunch that I'm used to. Which I kind of like sometimes. I like having, you know, lots of numbers going around everywhere doing weird stuff and keeping track of things.
Now that it's complete, like they switched editions, it definitely has that. Like, honestly, some people complain that it has too much, like, hunting for, like, +2s and stuff. Mm-hmm. But, like, it does have some serious number crunching math.
Yeah, but, like...
get into the deep, but... Part of that was because in order to understand it, they had a lot of emphasis on the, like, online character builder.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I think it's a pretty well-rounded mechanically system. And the fact that, like, back in the day...
He called him a fluffer pup! That's great!
That's pretty good. The fact that it emphasized, like, miniatures, right, was a strike against it back in the day because people were like, ooh, monetization, WotC wants you to buy their miniatures line. One, I think with the 3D printing revolution and just general, like, internet shopping, nobody gives a fuck about that anymore. Like, you can literally custom order miniatures online. There are so many different miniatures companies. You can get, like, compatible miniatures. Also, all those big budget actual play shows, like, have a big deal about having their custom miniatures and bullshit and their dungeon maps, right? So, like, that's in vogue, right? Second thing is, especially post-COVID, virtual tabletops, VTT, is way bigger now. And so, like, the fact that, like, you can just play the game on, like, a digital space gets a lot more accessible. And I think, like, the fact that 4th Ed was explicitly measured in squares in terms of range. Mm-hmm. Like, it was all still 5-foot squares, and D&D 5th Ed is the same way. It's just that now they say, instead of 6 squares, they say 30 feet. It's literally the same. It's, you know, it feels like you're getting stuff different emphasized. Personally, I've always been rubbed a little raw by, like, how people are like, it's so bad. Like, the fact that 4th Ed is video gaming is why I think I like it maybe the best.
Well, I think it's like 4th Ed is good for getting in quick and dirty. Like, you don't have to think really super hard about your characters and whatnot. Like, it's easy to start up a game and not necessarily, and, you know, put it down again.
Yes. If you have the tools, it's very easy to just be like, okay, I've got the character builder installed. I pick this. You know, I've got my list, my character sheet's ready. It told me what my powers are. Let's go.
Yeah, and after that, no, it's fine. Like, I think it's like a very streamlined experience. Mm-hmm. That's the way I think of it.
And honestly, I believe the first Monster Manual had some issues with their math for balancing, but in general, on the GM side, it's very GM-friendly because in, like, Monster Manual 2 and 3, the monsters are very well balanced for the challenge ratings. Like, the math is very precise.
And I think that's the other thing why some people didn't like 4th edition is because it was a balance issue, because I think they did a better job at balancing all this classes, so there wasn't no, you know, clear-cut winner on what to play to completely destroy everything. Because that's how like 3.5, 3.0 Pathfinder, and even a little bit in 4th edition, because let me tell you, a fucking warlock with some fucking Eldritch Blacks can wreck some shit. But 4th edition, you know, everyone was more on an even kill, and some people didn't like that because people want to be able to be the big chungus on the field and smack everything around with no problems.
Yeah, like I was talking about this earlier. The like casters and marshals were truly balanced because at least at level 1, your caster was like once per day. Your daily power is do 3 dice, 3d10 fire damage or whatever, and like your ranger or your fighter, their daily power would be like once per day, do 3 times your weapon damage in like a big scary strike, or do 2 times your weapon damage and a debuff. Like, yeah, it was very MMO-esque. It was very typed and stuff, but like it was balanced because you could do that. Another great thing, and I know, for instance, Dallas likes this a lot, but like, hey, in 4th Ed, tanks actually can tank.
Yeah.
Like, literally. Like, defenders have a power to like actually tank, to like draw aggro, which is something you can't do in a lot of RPGs. Which, considering that a lot of like MMOs and other RPGs like that are based on tabletops, is kind of a weird space because that is really part of the balance, right? Like, I played a decent amount of 5th, and I was a tank. I was the paladin. You know how I tanked? I did technically have a special ability at before I changed my subclass anyway. I had like the command power, I think, or something like that. Like, I technically had a spell slot I could spend to like challenge a character to a one-on-one duel, but that means that I wasn't smiting. So how I tanked in 4th Ed was just, or 5th Ed was just, I was always in front, and I ran to the front with my sword and board, and I was just like, I'm wearing good armor. Come at me. My AC's 19. I'm gonna smack you. And like sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. And also sometimes I had bait HP rolls, so at certain levels I was bullied a little bit. But like, whereas Dallas was not really our tank as our barbarian arcane cleric. So he was a zealot barbarian arcane cleric multi-class build. Again, Dallas is an animal. I like his character designs, but also they're such a headache. So technically, Dallas was a barbarian paladin wizard cleric, because being an arcane cleric gives him access to wizard spells, and being a zealot barbarian gives you like a little baby smite. So he would often tank because he just had fucking great stats and huge HP rolls that he never fucked up. And being a barbarian, he was very hard to kill. Whereas a lot of our other stuff like was different. But there were times when, you know, Robin was a sorcerer, so he was big deeps. And sometimes, you know, his character, the Catgirl Katarina, would get bullied by enemies because she was out here throwing elementally transmogrified lightning bolts so that they were actually fire, so they were lava bolts. And many other fun things. Chaos orbs. And, you know, we as the other players didn't really have any way to stop that other than, like, making sure those enemies were dead before they got to our DPS and shit. And again, 4th doesn't have that problem. And, like, there's a lot of options out there to do those things that you could make work. I know that there's a very, very thorough Final Fantasy XIV hack for 5th Ed, where there is a certain paladin subclass which is based on the 14 paladins. They actually have a class, like a subclass ability, which is cover, so they can cover for people, like it's, you know, Final Fantasy or something. And I didn't type this out, but I was reading about D&D 1. I thought of the joke, like, if Wizard wants to make a lot of money, oh, I remember, Naki. I'm just like, you were a bard, so it's like hard to. D&D bards are weird. It's hard to say like what you do there. Like, you kind of blended between like doing debuffs and then also just doing more damage and sometimes shooting people because you didn't want to waste spell slots because you needed them for stuff. Which I also deeply understand because as a paladin, everything was like, I gotta think. Thank God Vesper gave me a super special, our DM Vesper gave me a super special item so I could do elemental smites. So I could actually like use my spell slots and be more flexible. I got a magic dragon sword. I also could use it to do dragon breath attacks. But yeah, no, like, there's a very thorough Final Fantasy XIV hack for 5th Ed out there. Like, honestly, considering like how hype 14 is, and in general, like how Square Enix has been, I know that there have been some other unsuccessful attempts to like make cheap cash-in games with 5th Ed. The Dark Souls role-playing game, which is apparently fucking awful as a 5e hack. Like, it's really bad. It has a lot of shitty decisions that don't go well with the mechanics. Like, apparently, if you pick the starting class, then, I mean, but that's the thing. Mr. Dennis Cordell. That I think in MMO terms is like, that is, I think, quintessentially part of tanking. It's not just that you absorb damage, but also the fundamental part of being a tank in the modern parlance is you can draw aggro. You can force enemies to target you, even if it's only temporary. Like, because that's part of the, like, yes, you can absorb all the damage, but if you cannot force the enemy to redirect damage to you, whether that's, like, literally you, like, do something so that damage gets shared to you versus other players, or, like, actually you just make enemies target you, then, as I said, I played a paladin. Technically, I was the... I mean, with smites, you also do a shitload of melee damage. Like, paladins have often been a hybrid class. And we didn't have, like, a healer. So, like, sometimes I would occasionally, like, prep spells to be the healer as well. But, like, generally, I tanked by just being really hard to hit, and then, like, yeah, I'm just going to get in there, and I'm going to do a shitload of damage so that guy's going to want to punch me back. Like, that was my only aggro control, was just to do big damage in melee. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in MMOs, no, usually tanking classes have, like, taunts, they have redirects, they have abilities to, like, draw enemies to them. I believe for the way Fortune does this is just you turn on your tank stance and you just naturally generate more aggro.
Yep. There's also abilities, there's also attacks that you have that also just generate more attack. Like, most tanks have a range attack that they usually try to start off with that just has increased aggro as well.
Ah, so yeah, you have a built-in pull attack, yeah.
Yep.
Very good. Yeah, shit like that. Like, and that's just kind of the paradigm. So what I was going to say was that, like, honestly, if Wizard wants to make a shitload of money, it would be in licensing, but they should just, like, license 4th Ed's rules to, like, Square Enix as, like, the official Final Fantasy role-playing game. I know there are some FF games, but, like, given that's how, like, tactics and ogre tactics and stuff work, like, with the explicit grid play shit, like, I mean, I don't know if, like I said, Dallas was a freakish multi-classer. I don't know if you can encapsulate what the fuck he was doing. Because he was melee DPS, but also he had, like, a lot of utility spells. And I'm thinking about 14 classes. Like, there are melee DPSs who, like, also can off-tank and do other stuff, but they have different themes. Like, honestly, I would say normally Barbarian is more like Warrior, right?
Mm-hmm. It usually is. Usually big rage, big axe, a lot of swinging.
Yeah.
Channeling the beast.
I mean, it depends on the enemies. D&D does have a lot of baggage in, like, once you're engaged in melee, oh, attacks of opportunity, you can't get out, woo. But that's not even a tanking thing. That's just literally everybody if you get engaged in melee, and it kind of cuts both ways. Like, that arguably works for DPS as well. What's that? You're trying to run away from the rogue or the ranger? Well, we're just going to shank you more. More shanks. But yeah, like I said, like, I actually think that, like, marketing-wise, given the, like, often comparisons to MMOs and the explicit, like, square-based technology, and the way that classes were very flexible with powers, like, if Wizards of the Coast wanted to make some cash, they could totally market it like that, and people would probably not bat an eye. But again, we're doing a different decision where we're just trying to make 5e again, but with slight polish, but we're probably still not fixing some of the things. And we'll see what happens with it. This turned into a longer game design discussion, as it usually does. D&D is a very interesting topic because there are a lot of additions, and usually people favor different ones. And I guess I can kind of see why they don't want to call it, like, a new edition, whether it's 5.5 or 6. But people are going to call it a different one. That is a good question. Is there a basement? I think I see some low-to-the-ground grates.
No, I don't think there's a well, actually, no, wait, you're right. There is a basement. This is the fucking gymnasium. The fucking dance club is underneath this. Hang on.
Hey!
Let me go...
Yeah, but Sentinel is a feat you have to take. And I think anybody can take. Also, depending on what weapon you're using, Sentinel is really fucking, like, broken. But, like, anybody can take that with, like, certain prereqs. I think...
Oh, shit, it literally is in the dance room! Girls, stop what you're doing! There be a pervert afoot!
Stop everything! I found a bug in this room. That's kind of cool of like the level of interaction of your different side quests, because I assume this is like a completely different activity than your normal dance room shit.
Oh
right?
yeah, no, I'm just looking bugs. There's this guy who's been selling like spy cams and bugs to people, and it turns out there were some in the school. So I was all like, oh my god,
I got to help these kids. Yeah, that's a buttonhole camera in where the dance club practices. That's not okay.
Yeah, and that's Nishizono. That's the team captain who I took the fucking nationals. Also, I love the Seiyo rabbits. Their catchphrase is "dance like no one's looking," and they have a cheer. What was it? Spirit, strength, guts. Hot skip rabbits. I'm like, these girls are adorable.
Nice.
I will protect them. But yes, I am a fucking detective, and I will protect the chastity of my students.
But no, what I was gonna say about Sentinel was like the part I remember is I think didn't the this is to chat, not the Lucky, I'm sure he doesn't know. I think the Beauregard, the monk in Critical Second, took Sentinel. I would not say D&D monks in 5e are normally tanks. Like that's melee DPS. What you take Sentinel so that they can't leave your punch range because you need to punch people, right? It's not quite the same. And like I said, D&D has experimented with it, but I think the most clear way was the way the different marks worked and challenges worked in 4th. And they were different. They were slightly different for different classes. Like, I mean, I could literally pull up the books right now because they're all out of print, and I've got like the character builder and other shit, so I can look up these features. But I believe they were slightly different in slightly different classes. Like, Paladin's marking effect was different than others. Also, 4th Ed was really good because it gave you more roleplay options because they simplified the alignment system. It was lawful good, unaligned, which covered a lot of your neutral stuff, evil, and then chaotic evil. So you were like really good, just good, unaligned. So you could you be different areas. You could be evil or you could be really evil. Meh. Which, considering that the 9x9 alignment square is a literal fucking meme, was probably a decent idea. But it made grognards afraid. They don't like change. But another thing was that Paladins had... And it's the same way in 5th, that's something they did carry over, but 4th was the first time Paladins had no alignment requirement, and it was just based on your deity. Like, you could be a Paladin and not be lawful good, or in fact any kind of good, you just had to be within one step of your deity. And 5th kind of does that with some of the difference. Like, you can be kind of a druidy Paladin, you can straight up be an evil Paladin. And not like a different, Paladin, alternate class, like a literal, one of the subclasses you can pick is more evilly and stuff like that. But then some subclasses are dumb and boring. It's very weird. Like, some design decisions in 5th are, really cool and interesting, and other ones are okay, what does this add? But yeah, that's our D&D conversation for the day, I think.
Girls, don't look at me. I'm picking locks. I'm a horrible adult.
Listen, sometimes you just forget your house keys, girls. But I came in a locked lot. Well, I guess there's a grate for aeration.
I think that's the 4th fucking camera I've seen. Someone be peeping. Not a my school.
It's really hit me again. But I love the aesthetic of this. Like, Yagami is out here in his leather jacket with his fucking chain loop and his jeans, just walking around, and these high school kids are just like, "Yo, what up?"
Yeah, Yagami Sensei. They actually do call you Yagami Sensei too, because you're, like I said, you're not a official teacher, but you are guidance, and you have been making waves.
Yeah, so that's. Yeah, it's just kind of funny, the aesthetic. I mean, honestly, I don't actually know what the subcultures in the Japan kids are like these days, but I would think I would respect a guy who just fucking showed up and was just a little more casual. You're not outright scruffy, right?
Right.
Yeah, like X said, you're the cool adult. Like, you're not straight edge, though, either, so you're kind of... You're a lone wolf who doesn't play by the rules.
You really don't. Do you know how many fucking high school kids I've beaten up? I've beaten up several of them on school grounds, too.
I mean, did any of them pull out kendo swords or baseball bats or bicycles to try and beat you up with?
Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, it sounds like they deserved a swift kick in the ass. You talk about this. You try to hit me with a bicycle. Okay, all bets are off, buddy. But yeah, other than that, just I have some, wrap up and plug stuff to do. So if you have anything else you want to bring up for this week, Lucky.
No, I think I'm pretty good. I think I got out everything I wanted to for once. Where is this thing? Bug. Yeah, this is the club room of the MRC. They have a fuck ton of mystery novels. And, yeah.
Also, unfortunately, there's about a bajillion places you could hide a bug in here.
Wait, that's Mori-san. I know that dude.
The conspiracy board. Anyway, so, what I want to say then about future plans and other stuff. So, I've mentioned before I am interested in trying the award-winning Final Fantasy XIV something a copy pasta. Based on our current scheduling for progression, we will not be recording in 2 weeks. Next week we'll be recording one, because Lost should be back, and Robin will be not working, but Robin will be working again on the week of the 31st. That's usually when we record. So my current plan is to probably try and do that as a start date for streaming on the 31st. Just to let everybody know. Again, I don't know exactly what we're doing. Stuff might come up, people might be free, but that's like based on what I know about my future schedule now. That's my rough date, because I don't want to like let the idea lapse. Like honestly, I'm genuinely excited to like try it and get into it. Like I don't know what I'm more like worried about. Am I worried about like I will genuinely just like not have a good time and not enjoy this thing that I know my friends really like? I don't think that'll happen. Like I've watched these guys do gameplay before and stuff, so like it seems cool and like there's a lot of story stuff to do. But yeah, there'll be plenty of stream time, and like I said, I'll discuss further plans later once we're actually in streamifying. I do not plan to stream literally everything, but also I feel like it's something I can kind of stream and do some of it for content. Because, you know, I'll be doing it for the first time ever on my PS5 with a controller. And I may or may not need to get a new controller, but those are expensive. And like I said, depending on the game, my current controller is just mildly temperamental. I actually thought earlier today I was definitely going to need a new one because I was having a problem with my headphone jack, but I cleaned it out a little and it seems to have normalized, so... We're not in emergency mode yet. Yes, I use my headphone jack on my PS5 controller a lot. Sometimes I don't want to blare my fucking videos out in the middle of the night. And also, sometimes YouTube videos and shit are not optimized for TV speakers, funnily enough. They're actually better in headphone audio. Anyway. So that's number one plan. And in general, probably, like, especially on off weeks with Prog, if we're kind of going to alternate weeks more, which I think we will at our current status, because some people are still out of the format. And I think also just taking breaks seems like it's healthier for all of us.
Yes.
Like it's a lot more relaxing. I think there's still some confusion about whatever to do, but it's good to like take some breaks and take some time off on stuff. But yeah, we didn't do this previous week, right? So that's kind of why I was thinking about the timing for it. So we did some extra streams, and you should go check those out if you are interested in seeing more content from us. Like I said, we have our usual Monday stream. We are currently on Great Ace Attorney. We are finally going to courtroom on the last case, kind of. We have some other bullshit to get through, but we will make it to courtroom next time, and we're going to see how far we can get with that on this Monday. So go back and check out Monday's episode. Parts of it we get a little annoyed at the game about. There's a fucking way too long of a shill for the Nintendo 3DS's 3D features that you aren't even in this remaster. That got us both pretty annoyed.
Entire life to this art of upskirt for... I'm going to punch this man.
I'm so glad this guy is a villain. like, Japan has some of the, like, weird pervert stuff and, like, pop culture, but, like, the fact that they're like, no, you're gonna obliterate this.
No, he deserves. I'll punch him through a bench.
Yes, just give him the 1,000 punches. Also, you punched him through like 4 benches. Once again, you're a lone wolf who doesn't play by the rules. You're not going to reimburse the school for those benches. But yeah, so we're working on Greatest Attorney. After that, Lucky is going to spend some time playing Mega Man X1 on stream as well. Very excited for that.
I am, yes.
I'm constantly listening to the fucking OST. Because, hey, the music is really good. It's a little in-joke for our community. I won't explain it at all. They know if they've been on the Discord, like, any time in the past week or so. Enter the Vaporwave dimension, y'all.
Listen, I really love that video.
The Vaporwave dimension is rad. It's really good. I talked about, like, how much fucking, Vaporwave and Mallsoft shit I listened to writing, like, Operation Starcourt out now. So, like, yeah, like, no, I appreciate this shit. This is good. And the visuals are great. Anyway, you can look up the Vaporwave dimension if you want to figure out what's going on. But yeah, so you should still go back and check up on that episode if you haven't. I know that the view's been a little lower. We got some dislikes. We're sorry. We were a little frustrated, but it's kind of a chunky chapter. It's a little blocky. Hopefully getting in court, we can get a little more dynamic action, though there will still be courtroom antics. So check out that upcoming. If you haven't, please do go back and watch this week's bonus streams. We played Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2 for a little bit. Yeah, we got a dislike or 2 on the video. Probably because we were kind of yelly and annoyed by parts.
Listen, we're like on our, what, 3rd session?
Of this case, yeah, this was like the 3rd video of the case.
So that's like
get to the fucking courtroom.
So we're like 9 to 12 hours in.
Actually, no, but maybe this was the actual stream is the 2nd one, but they were both long. They were both like 4 hours and 20 minutes exactly. Blaze it. Which is like an extra hour and a half time. So yeah, no, we are 8 or 9 hours in, and we're still not in the goddamn courtroom. We're still not in the courtroom, by the way. We didn't save there.
The
game inserted an extra scene, so. That's why we're getting a little frustrated with like how long it is taking to work. There's a lot of plot going on. But hopefully next time will be a little smoother, a little cleaner. So we'll keep doing. But yes, there is a Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2 stream, which people seem to like. We got extra comments and like engagement on.
Oh, hey.
And so I could play that game for hours and have played that game for a lot of hours. So that may or may not show up in some downtimes to just do some Tactics Advance and chill. Another stream was on Thursday as a bonus stream. I streamed several hours of Game Dev Tycoon. That one is not doing super great in the views, so I would love for you to go watch it. We had a lot of engagement with chat, though, taking suggestions on names, genres, and stuff. I brought this to Lucky off mic, but like we did in fact do a tribute to Lucky. We did a farming simulator called Rabbit Dawn. It did very well.
This pleases me.
Yeah. And we have lots of like little like both running jokes and other gags in there. Our current long-term goal is to research the fantasy genre and to research MMO technology so we can launch a Gensekai MMO as like our game studio's flagship project. And on stream, I got through about half of the game length in years. I set it to a shorter game length that's only 30 years long, so we did 15 years. Moved to a big office and stuff, so that I definitely want to just whenever I have a good free day. I will want to like finish out those last like couple of hours of the playthrough. So that will probably be recurring. So go if you want to catch up on your in-jokes, go back and watch that series as well. Oh, you have a drone.
Yep, another one of my gadgets. Yep. Yeah, you can just fly it wherever. It's pretty cool. You can't go super high, but you know, considering.
I mean, you got to have some limitations because there are actually issues with like range and battery life on most drones these days. They're cool, but they're not perfect yet.
And when you have your drone, you can just like find like the weirdest shit, like stuff on roofs and stuff, and you're just like, okay.
Neato. But yeah, so check out those streams. We've got more streams upcoming. as well. Lots of other things. Keep your eye out for our next episode of Gen Sakai, and if you haven't caught that already, you can go ahead and catch back up to those previous episodes coming out every week. And I think that's all the stuff I got there for the shillening, letting you know about content. So I think we can wrap up there because I'm hungry. I need a snack.
Alrighty.
So if there's nothing more, chat. Not gonna bamboozle me in the last second.
No bamboozling. We're getting out of here.
All
We'll
right.
see everyone later. Have a good evening.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also the membership and the Patreon and all that other stuff we do.
All that other stuff. See you next time.
Night, everybody.